rematch, and frustrating. I'll mention some stuff for Florida State here in a minute. I did pay attention over the weekend. Watched your video, in fact, Tom, with Michael Langston about the Chasten Brown get. You can move the needle with me as a consumer. Let's say I wasn't a worker with Warchant, and I was just somebody that every day started my day by checking Warchant, right? Interested party, care deeply about Florida State's return to greatness and the path to it. How would you get me? Me personally might be very different than everybody else. For me, it would be any story that you guys either write about, cover, or shoot a video for that involves the offensive line. Anything to do with the offensive line, I'm paying attention to, because the playoffs taught me that a lot of people have very good players. A lot of people have real talent at wide receiver and running back, and certainly at linebacker and corner. And you can see the skill position guys for a lot of teams that are capable of, if the line of scrimmage is won, winning the national championship, right? A lot of teams. Now, obviously, Ohio State seemed to have more of them, and they perhaps had the most special of all the special talent, and Jeremiah Smith, two elite running backs. I got it. But they didn't have the best quarterback, and they won the whole thing because their lines of scrimmage were really, really good. And yes, when they distributed the football, they had talent to throw to. But to me, it's about the consistency of and the ability to endure injury on your offensive line and still push forward. That's what the playoffs taught me. And you saw it with Notre Dame, the loser in that game. It was remarkable. I think that's the greatest compliment to that Notre Dame team. Beyond anything else, they had a ton of injuries early in the year. One of them before the season started, to a starting offensive lineman, a projected NFL talent. They lost the guy. Ohio State lost the guy. They were shuffling people on their offensive line throughout the season to make up for injuries that they were incurring. And they had the kind of quality talent at the position that allowed them to survive and advance. And there aren't many teams, and I've talked about this a lot in this era. Oh, the sound's messed up again. He's got it, guys. He's got it. I'm going to put a giant sheet of paper there from here on out so that it will become the habit. That's not your fault. It's just that it changed after all these years. Now we're good. Back to the point. There were a lot of injuries to the offensive lines, and they were able to overcome those and continue on. And I think there's a ton of skill player talent all throughout college football. But if you're going to be able to win, you're going to have a deep offensive and defensive line. And in this era, which I was just about to get to, it is really hard to retain any sort of depth at that position. That's where the teams that do will stand out. So I think you've got to go crazy both in prep recruiting and in portal recruiting on the offensive and defensive lines. You're going to have to just go constantly that position. Throw numbers at the problem over and over and over. Because you're going to lose guys. It's a high injury rate position. That's what you get, right? In the trenches, big guys killing each other all day long. You're going to get injuries. But it's whether or not. Now, listen, we had a non-starter this past year. I mean, our offensive line not only had some injury issues, they also just weren't any good. So, yeah, that's a deadly combination. That's a problem. When you're not any good and you get some injuries, well, oops, grand opening, grand closing. We saw what happened. But I bring all this up because I did start my day by looking at Warchant, and I went to the Chasten Brown commitment, and I saw 6'7" was the first thing I saw. And I get that recruiting, it's a little bit of a lukewarm deal for people these days compared to the fire that used to burn deep within folks who loved recruiting, because you don't know who's going to be anywhere, even if you get them. Even if you get guys, you're like, well, we could have him a year and he could transfer. Somebody could raid your roster. But it is going to matter to me how the new offensive line coach, Herb Hand, and the new philosophy on offense mesh and produce in recruiting, both portal and high school. What kinds of players are you bringing in at that position? What's the quality of player that you're getting now at that position? Because, listen, that was a criticism even before Alex Atkins was revealed to be failing. I mean, when we first jumped on board with Alex, he got us from bad to good to decent. We were waiting for the next step. The next step never happened. He failed in the next step. But he didn't ever really recruit well. In terms of elite offensive linemen, we couldn't close the deal. I'm going to look to see it's going to be hard to close the deal on elite offensive linemen after you go 2-10. You're going to need proof of concept. You're going to need success. We know that. That's true of really any position. For the most part, you're going to have a hard time getting the creme de la creme of recruiting unless you get back to winning. Understood. But in the interim, we can learn a little bit about the patterns, learn about the types of players, the body type, the kinds of kids that they're going to be targeting and trying to bring in. And that's a kid whose body at 6'7", 270, I know that On 3 had him listed at 235, at 270 pounds tells you, well, Lord, I mean, they could put 20 pounds on him in no time. I mean, they might be able to put 20 pounds on him before he ever sees the field easily.
And he lists himself at 6'9". So, it could be that he's still growing. He's playing basketball as well right now.
Well, Lord knows I don't know what he is as a basketball player, but we could use the help. If he wants to play, we could use that. Another loss over the weekend, guys. Although the women won on a buzzer beater against North Carolina.
Well, and a near buzzer beater as well, because they had a 3 to take the lead with under 10 seconds to go. So that was one hell of a finish.
Yeah, I saw the replay and was like at North Carolina. I especially love the celebration as you run off the court. That's a good thing. That's that look of shock on the home team is always fun to take in. The schadenfreude you get from that. Like I'm not even watching our girls jump around and celebrate like, oh, look at the pain on his face. That's great.
Not exactly identical to, but not all that dissimilar from Snare 13 years ago, which, wow, it's 13 years ago now. But you have a make. You feel pretty good about yourself. There's a response, and then there's the buzzer.
And then there's the buzzer.
And it's Tobacco Road having to go to the wine bar and drown their sorrows with some grapes. A little bit of charcuterie.
So Herb Hand recruited this kid to UCF. So the relationship goes back a ways. He's here now, and that's a good thing. I mean, if you stick with a kid that, after you move schools, it tells me you liked him a lot. And so we'll see. But you got my attention with that. That's all I'm saying. Is that's how you'd get me every day. Some people, they're going to be looking at other things. I get it. Whatever floats your boat. But for me, it's going to be a couple of things. We got player interviews this week, the newcomers, which is exciting. We got Link Jarrett this week, which is exciting. What are we, 18 days away from first pitch for Florida State baseball? So we're able to start moving in that direction. I'm really pumped about that. A lot of young talent for this baseball team, and some we're very familiar with, but some I can't wait to get a good look at. And obviously, all of the hype surrounding Jamie Arnold and what he could be. Some say first pick in the draft. We'll see. It's funny because when it's your team and it's one of your guys, you want so much for him to have success for the selfish reason that you're a Nole and I'm a Nole and we'd like to see the Noles do well. But you also want to protect him. You're kind of like, that's our guy. Leave him be. Stop talking about him so much. You almost want him to sneak up on winning the Player of the Year award. You don't want to be pre-exposed to that kind of hype.
Well, he's Pitcher of the Year in multiple publications for the season, so ain't no sneaking up there. For me, it's just make sure all the side sessions feel good. Everybody feeling good. All right. Anything to report, Jamie, from your bullpen this week? No, feel great. Excellent. Not even a hint of a soreness anywhere. Awesome. Because he's so close to the dream that if there's anything that crops up, well, it was nice knowing you on a Friday night, young man. So I'm rooting for health.
Yeah.
Because if there's health, there's going to be excellence. So you root for health.
Yeah, and it's funny when you watch college baseball now, it's a different game than it ever was. It's a better game than it's ever been. The quality of players throughout rosters, better than they've ever been. There's always been outstanding players in college baseball, but the product was so far removed from anything you'd see in a major league game that you were always trying to find the equivalent. And it didn't help with the aluminum bats back when they were supercharged and all that sort of thing. You couldn't get real assessments of what a guy was or was not and how he translates to the next level. But now you have high-quality pitching, high-quality hitting. You've got a lot of depth and a lot of talent because Major League Baseball doesn't resemble what it used to, which is the minor league system isn't as robust as it once was. The elimination of a ton of minor league teams and leagues has meant that the college baseball gets an infiltration of really elite talent in a way that it didn't in the past. So that's really cool to see.
And now the stats mirror that of the world that I grew up in baseball, which is, if you've got a sub-3 ERA, you're elite by definition. That's the world I grew up in. And then at some point after the steroid era, I think that no coincidence there, you would see 187 ERAs, 156 at the All-Star break.
Yeah.
What? This is absurd. This is reserved for Pedro and Pedro alone, maybe Halladay for a blip in the steroid era. But now Arnold last year had a 298, but he was one of the best.
Yeah.
Because the game is it's tough to get guys out in college baseball. The bats are not as dead as they were. They're not as live as they were, but the talent pool is robust.
Well, I think the lineups have been lengthened in a way they didn't used to be, Tom. I think now a 6-hole hitter is a dangerous hitter in college baseball. You didn't always have that. And you got guys that protect the stars. You're going to get pitches if you're a big hitter in a way that you might not have in yesteryear.
Well, and there was a dead bat era in this sport.
Yeah.
And also the talent pool was thin. And so you could see a 178 in college. But now there's just these numbers, they return to a place where, man, I remember that. The ace for a team in 1997 could have a 342. Man, that's a good pitcher. All right. And now 342, you'd say, oh, he's a 3.
It is Senior Bowl week as well. Don't worry, I'm not going to ignore the big game, but it is Senior Week with the top prospects in the 2025 NFL Draft taking the practice field in Mobile, Alabama. And I always like this week. You get 3 days starting tomorrow of practices. And the reason I like it is that lately we've had players in it. It's helpful.
That's our guy Rob's favorite week. He always goes.
He loves it. He actually goes to Mobile to watch it
every year.
You got to love the hell out of prospecting players to be rolling into Mobile this week. But he does. You're right.
What spring games
Metro
are
Deli Rob.
That's right. What spring games are to Lee Sterling, the Senior Bowl is to Rob from Metro Deli.
Well, I bring it up because it is a fun week, and Azareye'h Thomas will be there. He was mentioned today in an ESPN article, the defensive backs to be watching. He was included on that list with 2 other players. There's Trey Amos from Ole Miss, Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky, and our own Azareye'h Thomas from Florida State. Those were one Senior Bowl executive's top 3 ranked defensive backs on the board in Mobile that are playing this week. I'm not saying the overall draft, just that are there this week for the invite. And it is thought going into the week that Thomas needs to have a big week because he was stuck on a god-awful team and people didn't really know what to make of what Florida State's defense was not and with all of the problems, like were we getting a good glimpse of a player who was engaged and locked in for the entirety of a 12-game schedule when you start the season 1-4, whatever the hell we were? Probably not. Probably not.
Well, we're 2 for our last 10, so or 12.
So he has to have a big week, and look, they love the measurables for good reason. He's 20 years old, which is he's young. People love that about him. He's 20 years old, and he's 6'2". He's long. Got the height. He's got the youth. He's got the athleticism. We know that. He will get a chance in daily starting tomorrow. And you can find these. These are on TV. The NFL Network has it a lot of times. ESPN has it. You can watch these practices. There are 1-hour practices throughout this week where you'll get glimpses and you'll get the drills. You'll see the offensive line against the defensive line. You'll see the edge rushers. You'll see quarterbacks throwing to big-name receivers. And what else are you seeing? A lot of one-on-one reps with receivers that are going to be playing in the league for guys like Azareye'h Thomas to go up against and make an impression on.
Well, we had a guy last year who made himself a whole lot of money in Mobile, and his name is Braden Fisk. And he was top 5, according to the Vegas odds, in terms of NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. So that guy went from, probably a day 2 guy to, most certainly. He's going to go day 2 of the NFL draft. Strong day 2 prospect.
Flew up the board, and then when he got to the combine and famously ran that outrageous 40 and gave the woohoo at the end of it, knowing he had kicked that 40's ass. It was, we all smiled. We loved him. He's a great player for us, and he rose up the board quickly, made himself a lot of money, and he had a great rookie season. and his compatriot Jared Verse did the same for the season. And now you're hoping for a few more guys. In this case, I like Azareye'h Thomas. I think he's a guy that, unfortunately, we never saw the best of, and that's for a variety of reasons. And to me, he may end up having a real good NFL career, like a real good NFL career.
It's possible. He already was very good at the one-on-one thing as a true freshman, and that continued on through his tenure at Florida State. I remember after the Champs Bowl against Oklahoma, I think you were down there for that game in Orlando.
I was indeed.
He had shown a few things that I just felt like, here we go. He's about to take off and become one of those in-college greats, because he was understanding zone principles. He had a knack for the football, and it's not like he had a bad career here. It's just that, he seems like a good candidate to be a better pro than he was college player. Some of those guys we've had a few of those guys come through here.
It happens all the time. Josh Sweat has had an unbelievable career in the National Football League. Yeah. And all I remember from him here was him dragging around that leg. He was hurt the whole time he was in Tallahassee. Josh Sweat, every time you look up, Josh Sweat's making a play in big games. I'm like, damn, that dude's not only still in the league, he's really good. And now he's on television commercials.
Yeah, I feel like the guy that would have been the best example on offense in recent years was Cam Akers, but he just kept on getting hurt at the professional level.
Well, he's fought back from serious injuries, and he's found his burst again.
That he's still doing it is unbelievable, and it's a testament to what I'm speaking of, the natural athleticism, the gifts that he's been given, but then also the work ethic to go along with it. It's just we thought he was screwed by Willie's tenure here and the end of Jimbo's tenure, that you were never going to see a fully matured and realized version of himself. He gets to the NFL, and boom, Achilles, and boom, Achilles. And you think, my God, here we go. And he had probably the 2 or 3 best plays offensively for the Vikings the last 2 weeks of the season.
We didn't get a chance to talk about this. Did you see, and this is a topic for later in the show when we're fooling around and just kind of having a conversation. Did you see, by the way, that the Browns are capable, if they want, if they're gonna try to pursue it, and they're thinking about it, of voiding that entire contract. Speaking of Achilles, there's a chance for them to get out from under that contract with what's his face?
Yeah. Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson. Sorry. He sucks now. We never pay attention. And when he does play, he's awful. And he's also
Orchids of Houston.
Yeah. So anyhow, that guy, they could maybe get out from under that contract, because I was reading this in the New York Times. It is incredibly rare to ever suffer a setback during post-Achilles surgery rehab. And one of the reasons that it's rare to ever suffer a separate rupture, a second rupture, is that you are required. Now, there are plenty of you out there listening to the show who have had an Achilles rupture, and you know what that rehab is like and how difficult it is. But one of the things they require you to do, at least initially for a certain period of time, is when you're out and about, that is to say you're beginning to walk, you have to wear the boot that stabilizes that area of your foot and ankle. And if you're in the boot, the percentage chance of suffering a rupture, if you slip or anything like that, is virtually nil. That's the kind of boot that you wear. But when you're not wearing it, and they say the Browns did, and he did too, that he turned his ankle down in Miami.
That was the official statement. I didn't note that day that you read it.
He turned his ankle. And they went, how so? How do you turn your ankle in a boot? And then the dumbass posted pictures of himself on vacation without the boot on.
Oh, boy.
On the beach. And they went, oh, you're not past the timeline where you should be boot free. What are you doing? They have an angle, and they can file it. And I got down dirty in this story, Tom. I was like, oh, do it. You got them dead to rights. They have to be able to prove it. There's pictures. You know I love stuff like that. All right. Super Bowl is set, much to the chagrin of many of us.
America.
Super Bowl 59 is set. There are some remarkable things in all of this. We do have to talk about the games that were played this weekend, including the incredible effort from the Eagles to pull away big in the fourth quarter with 3 touchdowns. They dropped 55 points. The Commanders couldn't stop turning the ball over. All the stars came out to play for Philadelphia. And we got another close one and another heartbreaking finish for Buffalo. Anybody really facing Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes, who's now on the precipice of entering into a world of his own. This is kind of crazy to note. Thinking out loud here, that's 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls that he's been in. There was a time we didn't think a Tom Brady thing was going to happen again. It's happened, and in many ways, he's kind of surpassing people on the all-time list.
I've seen this happen. I've seen it. Federer rises, and I'm so happy. And I'm behind Federer. And no, Nadal's not the same thing because he wins on clay all the time. That's its own thing. It's nice he amasses these victories and these Grand Slams, but then there's the Joker.
And then he goes, I'm going to soar past you.
Yeah.
By the way, when the Joker beat Alcaraz this past week, I thought he's going to get another one.
Well, I know it.
And then he got hurt again. And
can nobody rise up?
Well, Tom must have been like, after that injury occurred, oh, that's tragic, Joker. Sorry to see you have to bow out.
I'm telling you, somewhere today between transplant treatments and bronzing, Tom Brady gets a text from a Swiss number, and it says, I understand what you are feeling. RF, and it just says RF.
The RF is actually like the emblem. It is the emblem. He's got a text.
He's rich enough that he could get text font changed for him.
I don't doubt it. Anyhow, Super Bowl 59, we'll talk about it. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Florida man, what's wrong this time?
Well, it's my alligator Hank again. It's so dang cold, he's been digging all these holes in my backyard trying to find some heat to keep himself warm. He doesn't want to come out to eat, so I have to yank him by his tail. Now my back is killing me again.
Poor Hank. I mean, I'm really sorry about your back pain.
You have any idea how hard it is to pull an alligator out of his heat hole when it's colder than a polar bear's toenails outside? Not to mention the added weight of the gold chain I bought Hank last year for his birthday.
Well, it's time to get you back in to see the doctors at Fenn Chiropractic. You can book your appointment online, so there's no waiting in the cold.
You're right again. Look out, Dr. Finn. I'm coming in hot.
At Finn Chiropractic, they'll get to the root of your pain and deliver the solutions. Book your appointment online at finnchiro.com, and you'll even get an online discount. Visit finnchiro.com today and find your path to a pain-free tomorrow. Don't miss TSC Tuesdays, every Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m. during the Greg Tish Show. Find out what's happening at Tallahassee State College every Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. on Real Talk 93.3 FM.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Listen to what people are saying about ACL home inspections.
They took the time to explain every detail, providing clear insights and answering all of my questions.
I needed an inspection quickly. ACL scheduled me within 24 hours, and the inspector was able to arrive early. That was a huge bonus. And my 2 dogs absolutely adore him.
ACL home inspections will accompany you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy, then provide you with an easy-to-read digital report the same day. For homeowners planning to list their house on the market before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection.
As a very analytical person, I want to see all the details and ask questions. I interviewed 3 home inspection companies and was very impressed by ACL.
See for yourself what people are saying. Search ACL Home Inspections and find out more at aclhomeinspections.com or call 850-312-8919. 850-312-8919.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
And away we go. It was a blowout in the first game. Well, turned into a blowout. Damn, Washington could not help themselves. Turnover after turnover. And Philadelphia was just better. There's no doubt about that. Give Philadelphia all the credit in the world. I got to give a lot of credit to Jalen Hurts, who played his best game in a long time. But see, this is the thing. Let him run, man. If he can run and he's not hurt, you got to let him run. He's tough when he's running the ball. Jalen Hurts rushed for 3 touchdowns and threw for 1. Was very, very good. And obviously, Saquon Barkley has still not been stopped by anybody. And how much did you chuckle? I had to chuckle. So you get an 18-play drive to open that game. This is starting exactly the way Washington wants it to start. They're going for it on 4th down. They're converting big 3rd downs. They get down there. Yeah, you don't want to settle for a field goal. But you come away with points and you hold the ball for 10 minutes. You're like, okay, good, because I don't want to have to deal with Saquon and Jalen Hurts running the football at me for 4 quarters, right? I've just taken a quarter away. They're going to get 1 possession this quarter. And the first thing that happens is the pitch. You get that jet motion, that little sweep outside, and the pitch to him, and he shot out of a cannon again. And it's, the first part of that run is just that Philadelphia offensive line, and you get receivers blocking and tight ends blocking. They all do a really good job. But it's what happens when contact is made. It's obviously you get the get off me bitch moment.
And a couple of defensive backs who looked like they were okay with going along for a ride for a half a tackle. But they weren't interested in making a full solo tackle.
This is the problem, man. That guy's legs are as big as Texas, as we say, right? He's got Earl Campbell legs. He's squattier. There's not a spot to hit him. You can't square him up. And I'm thinking to myself as I'm watching, he's in full speed. So by the time he gets just past the line of scrimmage, he's already at full speed. I'm not going to lie. I know it's your job. But if you're a 5'10", 180-pound corner and that man comes full bore and he's already full speed, you're going to take an angle. You're going to take an angle.
It's the playoffs, though. I kind of need you to be in the safety is the one that takes the angle to the sidelines and doesn't even touch him. I kind of need you.
Well, as a safety, you got to step up and hit somebody, yeah.
Because the corner's in a weird spot because he's getting blocked by the receiver, and so he goes along for a ride. But the safety is the one where I kind of need you to make a play. Just at least try, because it didn't look like he tried a whole lot.
Well,
I think 7-3, you felt, oh boy, I'm not sure.
Well, listen, Saquon Barkley not only, he scored 3 times in this game, but he scored the first 2 times he touched the ball. The recipe here was like, hey, listen, we told you going into the game, Washington is 3-1 in the 4 games in which they gave up over 200 yards rushing in a season to a back. So they found a way to overcome it constantly. But, probably don't want to make your living doing that against the team who wants to run the football over and over again. And, oh, by the way, will never shy away from doing so.
Just Dane Daniels didn't get a chance that game because of the turnovers. That's the hard thing. It's not the moment was too big for the rookie. It finally caught up to him. They made their adjustments. That lead was built and forged through turnovers. And, they got it down to whatever it was, 12 or 13 at the break. But if you account for this 14 points off of turnovers, Washington's right in it. It's just that now they're chasing and now they're screwed.
Well, so they're within 11 in the fourth quarter with the ball. And you're saying to yourself, all right, score here. You make it a one-possession game. Now it's game on. And then they screw it up. I mean, you can't keep turning the ball over. The Eagles played well, pulled away. Offensive line's very good. Listen, we're getting a rematch in the Super Bowl that was one of the best Super Bowls ever played. Now, people are tired of Kansas City to the point where they'll tell you that the league wants Kansas City to win. And certainly the Chiefs have been the beneficiary of any number of times where we're like, oh, man, think you missed that call. Tends to stand out when you're rooting against somebody. We saw that about the Patriots too. League's not scripted because the only thing that could ever cost them the millions and billions and billions of dollars that they make is if people actually thought the games were fixed. They're not. They're not fixed. You're just tired of the Chiefs. Just be a better fan than that and understand that dude is awesome, and they win the closest games because they're the best team. And it's annoying. It is very, very, very annoying. By the way, if the game had been scripted, they sure as hell wouldn't have given the ball back to Josh Allen and the Bills with over 3 minutes to play and all 3 timeouts. That's a recipe to have your script blown up. So instead of it being scripted, Spags really made the call, and the next thing you know, there's a blitz off the corner. 5 men get to the quarterback. Good God, you drop a defensive tackle into coverage.
Just because they surprise you with the corner doesn't mean he needs to have escorts. I mean, my God.
Yeah, it's a toughie. Listen, this was a good day for Philadelphia and a good day, obviously, for the Chiefs in the sense that they've won their 17th consecutive one-score game. That guy is the biggest difference maker in the closest games. It always is the way. You're not going to get stops there. And, Andy Reid's a really, really good coach. I go back to this all the time. I think if you're Lamar Jackson right now, if you're Josh Allen right now, you're a little like Phil Mickelson living through the Tiger era. It sucks for you. Phil would have a gazillion titles, more titles, if, Tiger Woods didn't play. Same goes for Ernie Els. Same goes for Vijay Singh and others who were really good at that time. David Duval probably has another 2 or 3 majors.
Oh, man. David would have 12.
I love me some David.
It was a mental gap.
I don't want to talk about it.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Well, he ended up having vertigo. You can empathize. David had some medical issues.
He did. And a beautiful one-planer. One of the best one-planes.
And he never looked at the ball when he hit it. That's an aside. Anyhow, so here's the thing. That's the frustrating aspect. But we wondered when Tom Brady's time was winding down, when Peyton Manning's time was winding down, we kept saying, well, I don't know that anybody's going to emerge and become the next Hall of Famer. We've got some great young ones, got some young guys that I want to see their careers I'm excited about. But little did we know that the next guy to come along might end up being the very best of all time. And the league is in a good spot because you got a lot of great young quarterbacks, including a superstar who was on the wrong end of an ass-beaten 55-23 in the first game.
What you get to do, though, is be the guy in Coming to America's barbershop where you say, Tom Brady beat his ass.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying about 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. It's crazy.
Yeah. When they played heads up, the COVID Super Bowl, Tom Brady beat his ass.
Well, and I think, is he 3 what is he now? So he's 3-1 in Super Bowls. And what is he in AFC Championship games? Brady got him once, and Burrow got him once. So Burrow, that's it. So he's got 2 losses in the AFC Championship game. There's the one to Brady when they were trying to kick down the door, came up just short, and he never got the ball back.
Yeah, it's what happened to Allen.
Yeah. And then Burrow got him, and then that's like the most underrated Super Bowl nobody talks about is the Cincinnati Rams game. It's a 3-point game.
Oh, man.
It comes down to the wire.
And a catch in the back corner of the end zone.
Yeah. It's a great Super Bowl. I mean, the other one that we don't think about, if you're not a fan, and we think about it because we're a fan, but a lot of people will gloss over the Bucs Super Bowl because what's happened subsequently and how great he's.
It was boring.
It was an ass kicking. But
it's just a total whitewashing.
But yeah, think about it. That's the only one that he's lost in the Super Bowl.
And he was great that night. He really was.
Yeah, 9 points. He wasn't that great.
Not great enough.
He tried to do everything. It's one thing to point out, and after you give credit where credit's due, and we get a rematch of Philadelphia, Kansas City, which a reminder, that was 38-35 in one of the greatest Super Bowls ever played. So the frustration that I think fans have is the fourth down stop at midfield. There's 13 minutes to go in the game. The Bills get the ball back multiple times after that with a chance to win the game. I don't stop crying. And the other part is you get the ball back with all 3 of your timeouts, 3.5 minutes to go. You don't even get across midfield. Don't even get across midfield. No penalties called, nothing there. You just didn't even get across midfield. They just shut your ass down. So that's that. That's the way it works. If you tell anybody that has to beat the Chiefs, okay, look, you got a chance to beat the defending champions in Mahomes, and you've got, all the stuff, right? All the things that go along with that. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Before this game even kicks off, I'm going to offer you this, Buffalo. I'm going to offer you this, Baltimore, if you ever get there. I'm going to offer you this. Any of these teams that cannot seem to knock that team off in the AFC, as he has them under thumb. I'm going to give you the ball. 3.5 minutes to play. All 3 timeouts. Touchdown, you win the game. You got Josh Allen. Here you go. You got Lamar Jackson. Here you go. You got whomever. Name your guy. Joe Burrow. Here you go. Burrow got him once. Hasn't been back since, but here you go. They'd all say yes. They'd all say yes. They would take that deal. Let's go. I got 3.5 minutes, all 3 timeouts with that quarterback to win the game. Let's go.
But what if there's a moment on a 4th and 1 that I make the line to gain?
Yes. 13 minutes prior, yes.
Would you give me that?
So this,
if I'm up 1 in the situation and I could go up 8 points in that moment?
Agreed. Oh, but don't get me started on this whole points thing. Kick your effing extra point, you dumbasses. And I'll get into that in a second because that enrages me, and I'm continuing seeing this. It's just, what is wrong with you people? But here you go, all right? I agree. He made the line to gain. Agreed. Made the line to gain. But what is at fault there? This antiquated BS system of having fat asses who have no chance to see that close a difference. I mean, it's hard to see when they rewatch it 52 times.
It is.
You're going to ask some bum with average to poor eyesight 25 yards off to the side to go racing in and put it exactly where it should have been?
Yeah.
They can't do it.
They can't, but here's the problem. The guy on the top of the screen cowered, and you watched him cower in the moment because if they believe they've got it, hand to the sky, which means to the other line judge, this is mine. I've got it.
Yeah.
And he just stands there meekly.
Yeah. Well, what, did he do it because he was told to sit down?
No,
of course not.
no.
So what are we alleging? He did it because these refs suck and they were in disagreement about where the ball was, which I don't think either one of them were right. It doesn't matter. The replay should have got it right. When you're looking at the replay, you see that he gets it.
Right. What I'm saying is not about a conspiracy. It's that he is on the other side of the line to gain. And this happens to be for the NFL's to their detriment today. It's on a line. A full line across the field. It's not at the 32.5-yard line. It is on one where if it touches paint, it's automatically a first down.
Yeah.
Much like if there's a touchback on a kick.
Yeah.
So all the ball has to do is graze one blade of grass of paint as though it was the end zone. And therefore you make the line to gain, which the video, you have a shot down the line that clearly shows you that the ball is over the line to gain. You got it.
Well, his helmet is and his shoulder pad is. I would push back a little bit about the ball being clearly over the line.
You don't have a parallax here. This is a down the line moment, and you can reasonably piece because they do allow you to piece together 2 angles.
And they should.
In order to prove.
And they should. And by the way, CBS, stop going to commercials at the most important time of the game. What are we doing? Why are we going to commercials over and over again when we could be doing that process, which is real drama? Instead, they cut away. What are we doing?
Because it gives us a break from Tony Romo sucking up all of the oxygen of the United States of America between plays.
Listen, I'd much rather have Jim Nance and Testator talking to me about what's going on here. You have an opportunity. They screwed that up for another drug commercial. It's dumb. It's dumb.
It's Sterator, not Joe Tess.
What did I say? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Got your Italians.
I got the people I hate. Not Italians. Those 2 gentlemen. I'll give you, by the way, so did you do the math in the real time? Because I did, and then went back and looked at it again. I'll tell you about the what it cost them by not kicking the extra point. It's unbelievable.
I filled up my trash can vomiting of how Tony blew the last 2.5 minutes of the game. Everybody was flustered because he couldn't shut up. Everyone was flustered. Jim was flustered. Sterator was flustered. Everybody. Oh, my God. Jay Feely was. They cut it to him, And he said 5 words because he's afraid that Tony's going to talk over him.
That's a different gripe. I'm talking about
I know.
referees screwing.
I had to let that one go. God, I've never in my life.
He's a guy, by the way. What's funny about that? He's a guy that entered the profession probably with the highest ceiling.
Yeah.
Like his first year is as good a first year. It's like having an incredible debut album.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, man, a force to be reckoned with. We can't wait to hear their next record. And then it's ass.
He's
and that's Tony Romo in a nutshell. It's like, oh, man.
He said Jordan Spieth's career, you know?
Yeah.
He's the next great thing.
Like, man, this Tony Romo is awesome. And by year 2.5, you're like, I wish they had never made another record. Damn it, it spoiled the one good record.
Yeah.
I can't even listen to that now without thinking of all the
Cessna.
crap.
We had to lose Skinnerd.
It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 67 this afternoon under cloudy skies with a slight chance for showers. Winds out of the southwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected tonight, slight chance for showers, lows around 46. More clouds than sun with fog in spots early tomorrow, highs around 65. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 63.
Florida man, what's wrong this time?
Well, it's my alligator Hank again. It's so dang cold, he's been digging all these holes in my backyard trying to find some heat to keep himself warm. But he doesn't want to come out to eat, so I have to yank him by his tail. Now my back is killing me again.
Poor Hank. I mean, I'm really sorry about your back pain.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to pull an alligator out of his heat hole when it's colder than a polar bear's toenails outside? Not to mention the added weight of the gold chain I bought Hank last year for his birthday.
Well, it's time to get you back in to see the doctors at Fenn Chiropractic. You can book your appointment online, so there's no waiting in the cold.
You're right again. Look out, Dr. Finn. I'm coming in hot.
At Finn Chiropractic, they'll get to the root of your pain and deliver the solutions. Book your appointment online at finnchiro.com, and you'll even get an online discount. Visit finnchiro.com today and find your path to a pain-free tomorrow.
Honey, I'm home.
We're in here, honey.
So why are all my friends here?
Have a seat, Dave. We need to talk about your problem.
Problem? I don't have a problem. Dave, you do have a problem. A problem with your grill. Here's some pamphlets from Hearth and Patio. They are waiting for your call to help you upgrade your grill.
If you or someone you know needs a grilling intervention, call Hearth and Patio today at 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282 or hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like families. There's different families, and
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch
or the Yeti, right?
Yep,
and then
Yeti.
Here in Florida, that's a skunk ape, and
I've never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Yeah, the weird thing is, again, if Tony just said less, just because his inside is fine.
Correct.
Just say less.
Right. You don't have to take it post-snap on every play. And if Jim says something, you don't have to have the final word. You ever talk to those people on the phone that have to say goodbye last? Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, I don't know if I've paid attention to it as much.
That's bye, and then you say, all right, have a good one. Okay, bye, and they have to have the final word.
That's definitely not me.
Oh, you're like, good.
Yeah, I'm done talking here.
Actually, it's the best sign-off. Goodbye, good. Doesn't mean I don't love you. Just
Yeah,
good.
I'm
Good.
done talking.
Okay. That's Tony. Before every play, Jim will make a point and he'll have a statistic. Well, and that's why, Jim, it's really important. That's great. You play receiving yards, most touchdowns, 2nd and 6. Allen back to pass. Shut up.
It'd be funny if you did that.
Once. All you had to do is once, Jim. Just do it. I'm sorry about that, Jim. He's at the 20. He's at the 15. Tony, apologize later.
Elijah, I'll get you your answer this broadcast. I'll have it today. I'm glad we found somebody else who likes that kind of stuff. I do too. I know it was astronomical. At one point, I think I saw this morning when I was reading and prepping for today's show that it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 plus million for sure. It might have gone across 50 million. I better double check that. But, we did the show on Friday and I mentioned the build up to it, that the Bills-Chiefs games in particular have been unbelievable in terms of ratings. They had 33 million for the regular season game. Yeah,
the national title game was 22.
A couple of notes, and Mahomes does this in the postseason, and this is why it's so hard to predict the lines of Kansas City games. That's the most points the Chiefs have scored all year. That they scored more points in that game than in any other game that they played this year. And so if I'm Buffalo, you can get mad about the line to gain if you want. Fine. But, man, why is it every time Buffalo has to beat Kansas City, they can't get stops? And their head coach is a defensive coordinator. He's a defensive mind. They never get stops when they've got to get stops. They don't even get stops to get the ball back late in the game when they're just trying to run out the clock. And they're going to throw to the back. They always do. Andy Reid dials that up every time. Oh, they won't cover Pacheco. Come on, man. But anyhow, back to this for a second. That is the bigger issue to me if I'm a Buffalo fan. Like, we can't get stops, man. We got stops against Lamar when we need him. We can't get stops against him. We never get stops. And that's the most points they've scored in a game all season long. They also had, where did I put all this? Yeah, by the way, the Bills had the lead in the fourth quarter.
Well, that was the killer, is you're up 1 point when they're the fourth down play. I mean, you go up 2 scores there, and you got to force them to go for 2 themselves.
Oh, I know what it was.
Yeah,
I know
you want to look at the math of all these.
I did this. I did this for you. Okay. I did it on the fly, though, in the moment. Everybody watching. I tweeted out. Everybody watching that. You knew as well as I did that was stupid. Why are you chasing points in the first half ever? Ever. I never would. Personally, I never would. If you kick the extra point, it's 21-17. Okay? They score 24-21. We'll never, ever arrive at 32-29 if you do it this way, if you play it out logically. We can never get to 32-29 because the Chiefs never go for 2 this way. When they score to make it 29-21, it would have been 24-21, okay, at the time, right? And when the Chiefs score, they kick the extra point, and now it becomes 28-24, okay? Then the Bills score, and that would have made it 31-28. We're playing around logically now if we had just kicked this extra point. Then Butker ties it, and it's 31-all because they didn't kick the effing extra point. That's how that plays out for the scoring. What are you doing? And this is every week now.
Yeah, you assess the penalty on the kickoff instead, I guess, because then you can kick it higher, and at that point you might be able to. Did I just lose? No, that was the headset I lost. You might be able to pin them down inside their own 25-yard line or inside their 20-yard line instead of going at the 1. There's no need to go to the 1-yard line. Plus, that never, and they alertly pointed this out in the broadcast. These are, Tony Romo's a volume shooter. I said during the break, he's Allen Iverson. He'll take 62 shots.
Score a bunch of points, but there's a lot of things not necessary there.
Better example, maybe Melo. 51 shots, 21 makes. Well, he missed 30 of them. My God.
Yeah.
But they did point that out alertly in that moment. I'm sorry, I lost my headset again.
I don't know what's going on there, buddy. It's all right. I can hear you.
I can't hear myself.
I can hear you. Okay.
Can you hear me, man? I'm taking off the cans.
You recruited my brother, coach.
Oh, my God.
I can't hear him. That's my favorite part. He's handing the phones back over to the guy.
Reminds me of my old laptop in college. I have to kind of hold the wire in the right spot to get the charger to work.
So now that we're done with the math of the extra point and how stupid it is teams chasing points so early all the time drives me nuts. Chiefs are the first team in NFL history to win back-to-back Super Bowls, then follow it up with a trip to another Super Bowl with a chance to win 3 straight. It's 5 Super Bowls in 6 years for Mahomes. If you think of the teams that went to 3 straight, I mean, it's pretty amazing. Obviously, the Bills went to 4 straight, didn't win any of them. The Patriots went to 3 straight, but not with a chance to win 3 in a row. They were 1-1 in the previous 2 when they went back to the third one. So they couldn't win 3 straight. This is where it gets dicey for me. I'm old enough to remember these things. Shula's Dolphins went to 3 straight.
You remember that?
No.
Oh.
I remember it being a constant talking point in the 80s because we were so fresh off that run from the Dolphins in the 70s. It was a thing. It happened. But they got bludgeoned by the Cowboys 24-3 in the first of those 3 appearances. So they had that. They couldn't win 3 straight. And you go back to a bunch of teams going back-to-back, bunch of teams going to, winning 4 in 6 years. Well, not a bunch, but like that Steelers heyday run is all-time great. Aikman's Cowboys couldn't get it. It's like you just don't see this. And I think lost in the frustration of one team doing this over and over and over again, and our frustration of seeing the same guy and the same team and the calls and the things that piss people off is that you lose track of how incredible this really is. Like, just historically speaking, this is an amazing thing. And as somebody, and there's been 59 Super Bowls, and I remember a lot of them. Too many of them for me to comfortably say. Some of you remember all of them. But you just don't see this. Hour 2 forthcoming. Stay with.
Give your business a facelift with a modern, consistent, creative brand overhaul from Curiosity Marketing Group. These days, it's not enough for your business just to have a standard website or a Google listing to reach your customers. Your business needs to stand out with eye-popping branding, modern web development, and strong marketing. And it takes a team to pull it all together. Words and websites matter. At Curiosity, we make the most of yours. Find out more at curiositymg.com.
I used to fight almost on a daily basis working on my business website. I'm a pretty smart guy, but I could never get it to function the way I needed it to, and I was losing customers because of it. That's when I called Curiosity Marketing. They listened, they understood, we collaborated, and in the end, they delivered beyond my highest expectations. Now, I can barely keep up with the work. They say the future belongs to the curious, and now I'm excited about the future of my business.
Find out more at curiositymg.com.
Where is the best place to find Michelin, Firestone, Dunlop, Goodyear, and Bridgestone tires? Neves Tire and Auto Service. Where's the best full-service auto center? Neves Tire and Auto Service. They do everything from computerized alignments to brakes, tune-ups, and safety inspections. Where can you get complete auto service you can trust? That's easy. Neves Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLS 373031.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Knowles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas. Brought to you by Palmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee.
Betting market available. You can bet the exact matchup in Super Bowl 59. Kansas City and Philadelphia, the favorite matchup at plus 140. Bills and Eagles plus 175. The Chiefs and the Commanders plus 450. And the longest shot on the board, the Bills and the Commanders meeting in the Super Bowl in New Orleans at plus 550. There's also a futures market for Super Bowl 59 MVP. Josh Allen of the Bills and Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs, both at plus 280, the co-favorites. And the Eagles, Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts, the second choice, both at 5-1. $250 bonus, and you open up a GBank Visa signature card. Visa.com/GBank. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Welcome to Staples.
I am so pumped. My business is going to kill it this year.
Awesome. How can I help?
First, a new computer.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you save big on tech.
And new posters.
Save on custom printing, too.
And,
a new chair?
A chair? Who has time to sit?
Maybe all your new clients?
Now you're talking.
With Staples Home and Office Hot Deals, you'll find huge savings on custom prints, storage, chairs, and tech. And now save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time and switch to the expensive shampoo with amino acids. Sure, you don't know what those are or why you need them, but it sounds very impressive. And if you switch and save hundreds, you can massage it into your scalp every day. Now, if only you can get people to lean toward your head to smell those aminos. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. Shampoo? Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Hi, this is Rudy Ferguson, pastor of New Birth Tabernacle of Praise. Be encouraged, stand still, and watch God move with your morning word with Pastor Ferg. It's something God wants to share with you. Tune in every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. with the morning word with Pastor Ferg. I believe it's going to bless you and keep you for the week to come. Right here on Real Talk 93.3.
There's nothing like relaxing in a hot tub after a long day. But if you don't have one, you're truly missing out. Hot tubs and spas have tremendous health benefits, besides just helping you relax. Like improving your sleep, they help with pain relief. They help to better your cardiovascular health, and so much more. And this season is the perfect season to finally buy what you've been wishing for. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio, and Spas has the hot tubs you need for the price you want. Come shop our huge 12,000 square foot showroom and save today. There's over 50 hot tubs in stock right now, so you won't have to wait weeks on end for that delivery to finally come to town. If you're ready to relax, we're here to show you how. Pinch a Penny Pool, Patios, and Spas. Come visit our huge showroom at 2473 Greer Road with over 50 hot tubs to choose from. You'll be glad you did.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
He told their kids to get up, get out of bed, grab their stuff, and go. And I say that as a very loving and appreciative father of both my boys. But man. I mean, think about it. We had the 2 weeks off, 2 weeks plus off with the holiday. You just start to get back into the flow of things. Effing polar vortex comes flying through here, shuts down school for a week. That means 3 of the last 4 weeks your kids have been in your hair. Or in my case, just around me. I don't have hair to get into. So I did. I gave them a strong hug this morning. Want to make sure they had their stuff. Here's your backpack, son. By the way, your breakfast is right here. There you go. You have a good one. Let's walk to the door together. There you go. Your car started. Your dad jumped in this morning, warmed it up for you. Have a safe trip. Have a good day.
I made sure it started so I don't hear any tall tales about the car not working. Car's fine. I don't want to hear it. Go. So did they take back at Leon County President's Day yet? They take that day?
I don't know. I think they're out of days to work with, though.
Okay. All right. No more flex days.
Yeah, I think they're screwed now. I mean, they're gonna have to, find a way.
Yep. The 2-strike count the rest of the season.
Choke up. Let's go.
Shorten up.
Shorten up.
Will you shorten up?
Put the ball in play,
I can't
everybody.
wait to complain about that. I can't. Will you shorten up? Why the hell are you trying to hit it 500 feet? It's 1 and 2. Get on base.
Chiefs 1.5 the number for that Super Bowl. I think it started at 2 late last night. Came in at 1.5 later today. I've already got bets.
Oh, really?
I jumped on it early because they'll move. The numbers will start to move.
Why? Did you like the total at 50? Did you play that?
No. I played player props. I went straight to player props. I have Xavier Worthy over 6.5 yards rushing. I actually got it when it first came out at 5.5. I think it's moved now to 6.5. So I got
yesterday was a freebie. It was 2, a 1.5 or 2.5.
Yeah. So I did Xavier Worthy over. I did Kareem Hunt over 10.5 carries. That's now moved to 12. So I was on the right side of that bet. I took Jalen Hurts under 224 passing yards because I think they're going to run him and try to shorten the game and keep the ball out of the hands of Kansas City. Plus, Kansas City got a really good defense, which means 41-38. I'll get it wrong.
Yeah, that's a tough one because if Spags does what Spags does and he says, I'm bringing the house, then you might have a little bit of a one-on-one situation for A.J. Brown, who's still quite good at that.
Yeah. But Spags is interesting. He doesn't do it unless he has to, and he dials it up big time when he needs to in big moments. But he'll play coverage.
I feel like selling everybody down the river in order to stop Saquon and Jalen Hurts would be a number one. Let me see if I got good Jalen today for a couple of drives. Let's see. Because if he misses A.J. Brown wide open on the first 3rd and 6, now there's a problem on their sidelines.
You hope.
I've created chaos. All the self-help books in the world won't help what's about to happen over there.
Spags is amazing, by the way. He's dropping Mike Dana into coverage. Well, look at that fat ass in coverage. And then it felt like they were playing with 24 guys on that side of the ball on that last drive. I'm like, man. It's funny because you can't fault every little thing or nitpick every little thing, but, of the total plays that the Bills had in the third quarter, I think they ran on all but 2. They ran the ball on all but 2.
And one of them was a goal-to-go pass to Knox.
Yeah.
There's a little short guy.
I didn't ask you, but they didn't talk about it enough, in my opinion, and I've since gone back and looked at it. Kincaid's got to make that catch.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, let's be honest here. That's something that's going to get overlooked here. Like, how about you catch the ball, my man?
All because I won't belabor the point, because your analyst won't allow you to look at important things.
Well,
and so they went, oh, by the way, let's take a look at this again.
Yeah, he kind of needs to catch. I know he's coming back to it, but man, you got to catch the ball. That's the moment. If that's a catch, we may be having a very different conversation.
Totally different conversation. I agree. You would be.
I mean, if you're Josh Allen, that's happened to you twice. Remember the 60-yard frozen rope?
Yeah.
To your best receiver that gets dropped?
I think he also understands inherently if there's pressure coming from this direction, that means that spot on the field is going to be wide open.
Wide open. I'm going to throw it to the spot.
Yeah. You're allowed to make the play.
Yeah.
He had one bad miss, and it was on that drag from right to left.
Yeah.
That is going to be at minimum, because that's one of their speedsters, at minimum 1st and 10 in field goal range, going the other way. And I think that drive ended in a punt for Buffalo. I'm pretty sure it did. That was a moment that I circled and said, oh, no, you kind of needed to hit that, Josh. That's a layup.
Well, the amazing thing is, too, the other part of it, when the margin for error is so small against great teams and great quarterbacks, especially on the road, you can't get down 7-0 right off the bat with each team having one possession. You know, it's like you don't think about it later on in the game, but when you look back on it, you're kind of like, oh, right off the bat.
Well, it just felt yesterday, the entirety of the game, remember the Bucs' fourth quarter and overtime against the Chiefs, where the drive felt inevitable. You're not going to get off the field. They're going to have to fumble it themselves, which they did. 5 times the football hit the ground yesterday in that game. And Buffalo came up with the football all 5 times.
I think it was 4.
I think it was 5. Now, one of them might have gotten wiped away.
Yeah,
because of the offsides penalty.
Yeah, one of them got wiped away. So it's 4 for 4. Yeah.
That was the offsides on Oliver on the left side.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that's one thing that's not talked about here is when you're looking at the margin of the game, man, the fumble luck was 100% to Buffalo.
Yeah, they could have gotten blown out. If it goes the other way, like every one of Washington's turnovers were recovered by Philadelphia. Good Lord.
Right. And if that went 50-50 or if Washington recovered all of them, that might be a game down to the wire. I don't think they're stopping Philadelphia with consistency.
No, doesn't look like it, does
but
it?
They might score with them consistently if they had a chance.
I will say the fumble on the kickoff. Listen, you're down 7, and they kick the ball off to you. It's almost halftime. If you go into halftime down 7, who knows? But my man, and that's not even a heavy hit. That's not a bad hit.
That's the McNichols one. Yeah.
I mean, come on,
the
my
Shipley
man.
one early in the game. That was a good hit. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
By the way, McNichols is still in the league. Did you even know that?
No. I think he was with the Bucs when Brady was there too. And
For 30 seconds.
And I felt Brady maybe 10. You can't do it, McNichols. I know him.
Yeah. He wanted to. Hey, you know what I didn't know?
That Brady's better than Romo at analysis now?
He's gotten better already. But no, McNichols also ended his high school career at Lakewood.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't even know that.
You get a good pension.
I had no idea. Anyhow, Friday, you and I talked about this, which is that the Noles open ACC play Friday night in Charlotte. Are you going to take it? Oh, Charlottesville. Excuse me.
Blinding beauty.
Big mistake. That's correct. I've been to Charlottesville to either go as a fan or cover Florida State football numerous times. And I love Charlottesville. And it occurred to me, has Tom ever gone up to Charlottesville to see the blinding beauty with me?
No, I have not.
Well, let's go, baby.
I can't go to this one. We
Yeah,
were just talking about it.
it would be tough because we got a wedding the next day.
We lucked out on that one, and so did the person holding the wedding. It's a football season wedding. You're lucky it's a double bye year, and then also the ACC likes to play games on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Fridays.
Well, the first thing when we did this video and it was out on Friday, and I don't know how many people saw it, so that's why I'm revisiting the topic. The Noles open ACC play, as we said, on a Friday night in Charlottesville, Virginia, on the 26th. We come back on October the 4th, and we host the Miami Hurricanes. Now, you and I did discuss this, and I'll bring it up for the purposes of this broadcast. Hey, listen, that is music to my ears as far as the Miami game being placed where it is. It should always be played first or second week in October. It should always be that's the great tradition of yesteryear. And I loved it. As soon as I saw that, I went, thank you.
Well, and you should be a fully realized version of yourself by the time of the season. You know, instead of Labor Day weekend, when there could be a whole bunch of things that are different as you're trying to work through transitions, new first-time starting quarterback, new coaches. You get into October, you are what you are. You have
pretty much.
Yeah, you've
unless somebody emerges and takes somebody's spot, or every now and then teams get a shot in the arm, new quarterback or something weird happens.
I liked playing Miami in November for so many years because usually they were quitting by that point in the season. But in October, still there's plenty of hope, one would think.
Well, and it's their ACC opener, right? So
it is.
Yeah, so they absolutely will be locked in. And okay, all right. We got Alabama that first game. And then it's East Texas A&M, which just sounds weird to me still. Not that it would have sounded normal if they were still Commerce.
Yeah, Texas A&M Commerce.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. I still didn't know who they were. And that means you get a bye week on September the 13th. And then you take on Kent State at home September 20th. And that's when you get the short week and head to Charlottesville right after that.
Usually we like our breaks during bye weeks to do nothing. I'm just throwing this out there. I took a look to see what games are going on September 13th. There aren't very many good ones. So a high degree of certainty that a night kick will occur in Baton Rouge as Florida travels to LSU. What do you think?
Bye week?
Bye week. Also looked at flights. They're reasonable. So we don't have to do that godforsaken drive.
You and I have done the drive.
The
We had a good time with it because we stopped at the casino.
That's right. But the flight in this case is better because we got to be ready to go on Monday. So you want that Sunday travel day to be limited in terms of fatigue factor, especially after a night kick in the Bayou.
Well, I would love to go. I would go with you. We'd have a blast. We should document it, film it, have a good time. Like we've been threatening on bye weeks over the years to go to the bigger matchups around the country, conference to conference. Doesn't really matter. Just a good game, big matchup, something that interests you. And that would be a good one. If you're telling me now, I didn't look at the schedule. Week 3 regular season 2025. Here we go. Pulled it up for you.
Yeah.
Oh, the same night that we play. Oh, they're dating. I'm sorry. They're going back here. They clicked on a game between Air Force and Wyoming, which turned out to be a doozy. 17-14 in 2022, Tom. Did you know that?
No, I had no idea. I think Georgia, Tennessee. There's another good SEC game.
There always is that week. Yeah. I'll have to pull this up later. I can't.
But Florida LSU is there just in case. Just in case.
There we go. 25. Week. Yeah, that's okay.
Tres.
I'm looking. Come on, buddy. Let's go. ESPN, get it together. It's making for bad radio. Got it. Wisconsin at Alabama.
Oh, weird. Could drive to that one.
You want to go to that? It's going to be an ass kicking.
Give me Baton Rouge. You can take Clark for a campus visit.
I like Baton Rouge a lot more. Florida at LSU. Arkansas at Ole Miss. Georgia at Tennessee.
Okay, it was Georgia, Tennessee.
Tennessee's good, man. And I've been to that stadium in Knoxville with the Volunteer Navy. Yeah, you're right. We don't get much. I mean, Oregon Northwestern ain't going to do it.
So Florida LSU might be an afternoon kick because they're not going to stack 2 SEC games in prime time. It's just they're going to have to decide, do they want Volunteer Navy at night or do they want LSU at night? I think we know what the right answer is, but I wonder what the networks will do.
Texas A&M at Notre Dame. Screw Notre Dame, not going.
Ooh, weird.
Already been there. Too many times. Let's go Aggies. Yeah, no, you don't have much, buddy. You don't have much. You've got the right game. That's the game we should go to. Florida LSU.
It's not an unreasonable round trip.
Southern Cal Purdue. Back to Florida State. Yes, you're who you are by that point. Good God. It's your 4th game. Right? That's your 4th game of the season. You probably should have a pretty good idea what you are. You will have played a team with better athletes than yours right off the gates. Then you'll play 2 teams that have vastly inferior athletes to you. And then, something close with Virginia. I think Florida State certainly probably has better players. I hope. We'll see. There were times this past year where I wasn't sure we had better players than anybody. There were times this past season when you went, you know what hurts my feelings? Not that we're bad, but I don't think we're better. Meaning physically, I don't think we're better than these guys kicking our ass today. And these guys happen to be named Boston College.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Boston College hurt my feelings.
Yep.
Not because of the score, which did unfortunately suck, but because we didn't look, if at all, certainly not, appreciably better than Boston College. That was the first time where I didn't like losing to Georgia Tech. We knew they were a good team with a good offensive line, a good college quarterback, a well-coached team. You're like, okay, we flew overseas. It's a weird game. Okay, I'll chalk Georgia Tech up to whatever. Let's get home and get right here. Let's go. Let's use our superior athleticism. Let's hope that the anger that is welling up inside after that most disappointing loss in Dublin will come out tonight and we'll dominate and then we'll get ship-righted. No, they're better than us. And they look better than us. Physically.
And
shoot.
And they're running the same play over and over, and we're not covering it.
That silence you hear, that was all of us just looking at one another like,
He's open again. It's kind of akin to Todd Bowles' defense against the Saints, except he had coverage over the top.
Over the top. You weren't going to score. You were going to nickel and dime us, yes.
We did not. Just nobody covered him, and there was no coverage over the top.
It didn't look coordinated, did it? No. Yes. You know what I did that night? I think I texted you the meme of Robert De Niro and Goodfellas doing the cigarette, looking at the guy that he's going to kill at the bar.
Right.
And I sent that to you and said something about our defensive coordinator.
I'm sure you did.
And it was that meme.
Sure, it was colorful. Maybe that's a bellying up for the offseason to go through the in-game texts I got from you and read them off word for word. Is there a statute of limitations? Can I reveal those now?
Well, you could, but some of them you couldn't repeat.
Probably not.
Some of them would just say, between us. But that one you could, because that one's funny.
Usually,
you chuckled at that.
Usually if it starts with R-U, A-R-E space Y-O-U. R-U. Oh, boy.
Here comes. It's going to be a
He's been thinking about this one.
Well, no, it's because normally I've seen 4 examples in the first half alone.
Or are we also?
Are we? Yeah. Yeah. But that one was just me doing the De Niro cigarette. I've made my decision.
Yeah. The one for me was the next game. It was Memphis. Because I had watched Troy's offensive line when it wanted to get into goal line, condense.
Yeah, move them off the ball.
Just shove them back into their linebackers.
Yes, so did Navy's, and to the tune of like 60-something points.
Right. And we did on the first play, and then we fumbled it, and we said, you know what? Let's go back to counter instead of pushing them straight back.
Ugh. See, isn't it getting easier, guys? I'm not in the chat right now, but isn't it getting easier to do this? To vet some of this, to talk about it? Are we far enough removed? Is everybody, you can do it now. Like, it's not causing the rage to well up again. Like, in season, it was always too fresh. It was a fresh wound. We could look at that wound and still remember being hurt. We could look at that hurt, and it hurts to talk about. I don't like it. Let it heal. We'll talk about it later. I don't like this. Now I can do it. It's
Be
healed.
careful. Don't say they quit. Well, they did.
They did. Well, and also, and that's another thing. Everybody's got to get over being so damn sensitive all the time. When a guy I like deserves criticism, you got to rib him.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That was the Miami game. That game. It's like Army Navy, sacred for us. Now that's for the country. It's sacred.
Yeah.
But Miami and Florida State.
You got to bring it. You got to bring it.
You're going to be trotting out there.
Well, some guys.
You're going to gracefully arrive.
Some guys brought it.
Some Earl Little brought it.
Yeah, but so did our 2 defensive tackles.
Oh yeah, they played well.
They played hard.
Yeah, that is true. Daryl, that was the beginning of Daryl's
coming out party.
Yeah,
Daryl showed up.
He had a good second half to the season.
He did, and that's the reason that you're excited to see him play in this defense. So I'm going to say it over and over again. It's not, people mistake my enthusiasm for the hiring of Tony White and what I think this defense can be with a reluctance to embrace what they did on the offensive side of the ball. And you don't need me to embrace it one way or the other. We're all going to watch it and see what happens. But I'm just going to be honest about what I'm excited about, what I'm somewhat indifferent about, what I'm concerned about, and everything in between, right? But I'm excited, legitimately excited about what we do on defense. I don't know if the personnel will be what we need it to be to really dominate within the scheme, but I don't think he's going to put up with pussyfooting and half-stepping. That's not going to happen. And there was so much pussyfooting over these last couple of years where you're just like, even in the games when we played well, there were times where like, come on, man. It's not what we do.
Yeah. The same thing with the O-line. You'd have a counterplay that works, and you'd think, in 2022, that dude's on his butt. This year, we're gracefully angling him out of the way. Come on.
Like
It's the same player.
They got overly technical.
I mean,
yeah, they were all up in their heads, man.
This ain't a kata. Go get him.
Shannon Young, my man, has made a move to be a part of the nation's largest mortgage company. He's now with Cross Country Mortgage, and that means better rates for you, better options, stronger support, faster response. He's serving 7 different states, so if you're listening to this and you're in Florida, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Texas, or the Carolinas, he's got you. That is a cool thing that has changed. But some things stay the same. 20-plus years of experience, relentless goal-oriented attitude, energy, and passion. He's intelligent. He's a Knoll. He's one of us. LoansForKnowles.com. That's LoansForKnowles.com.
Listen to what people are saying about ACL Home Inspections.
They took the time to explain every detail, providing clear insights and answering all of my questions.
I needed an inspection quickly. ACL scheduled me within 24 hours, and the inspector was able to arrive early. That was a huge bonus, and my 2 dogs absolutely adore him.
ACL Home Inspections will accompany you on a walkthrough inspection of the home you want to buy, then provide you with an easy-to-read digital report the same day. For homeowners planning to list their house on the market before putting it up for sale, ACL will provide you a pre-listing inspection.
As a very analytical person, I want to see all the details and ask questions. I interviewed 3 home inspection companies and was very impressed by ACL.
See for yourself what people are saying. Search ACL Home Inspections and find out more at aclhomeinspections.com or call 850-312-8919. 850-312-8919.
Ain't nothing but a G-Pod, baby. I am 99% sure that is not how the lyrics go.
Well, you like remixes, right?
Of course.
Well, think of this as a Grassroots Coffee remix per se, because Grassroots Coffee is now in the single-serve coffee pod game.
Dude, those single-serve coffee pods and cups are weak sauce.
Not Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. They have more coffee in them than regular single-serve pods and cups.
Seriously?
And not only do they have more coffee, they have a built-in filter for better brewing. They fit in most Keurig machines, and they are fully compostable.
It's still the small batch, slow roasted coffee you love, so go to grassrootscoffee.com and get your box of G-Pods today.
Baby!
See?
Remix! Well, actually, that's more of an homage.
Grassroots Coffee, locally owned, locally roasted, and made for everyone, loved everywhere.
Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. So very good.
Hey, Knoll fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-694-1010. That's 1-800-694-1010. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. 1-800-694-1010. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Jeff Cameron Show rolling on. Busy Monday. Always fun after a busy weekend, but also a reminder that later on tonight, Monday Smash. Gonna have any beverages this evening for the Monday Smash?
Oh, I don't know.
Perhaps.
When they announce the schedule, it does feel like a moment of celebration, but that won't be till 9 o'clock tonight. So I could get my pregame on. Maybe I'll go tailgate outside. It'll be much more balmy than it was last week.
So tonight's at 9 that the official It's 9 p.m.?
Yeah.
Who the hell?
Like a home game against Pitt on a Wednesday night at the Tucker Center. Here's your 9 p.m. announcement.
Irashfel, Warchant.com. I think even given Ira's advanced age, he stays up later than me. Ira, you stay up later than me for the most part, do you not?
I definitely do, but I also wake up a little later than you. I'm somewhere between. I'm like, like the Three Bears.
Yeah.
You and Corey.
That's true.
Right.
So you get up after 6, or probably after you don't sleep in past 7, do you?
Usually between 7 and 8.
Okay.
Unless I've got something really pressing.
Well, see, then that explains everything. Okay. Because, you're right. That makes more sense. Because I'm in bed. My eyes will be ready to shut tonight when they're announcing the schedule. I'm going to be like, come on, people. Get this schedule out here. Daddy's got to go to bed. No, I say that. I tease a little bit. What are you going to talk about on the Smash tonight? What are we looking at, brother?
Oh, man, I'm sure we'll talk a little football. We're breaking down these positions. Tom and I have been breaking down some position depth charts that I know you guys have as well, so we'll probably do some of that. And, maybe talk a little bit about, maybe touch on a little bit of recruiting. And hoops, who knows, man? It's where the people want to take us. We get questions on the Smash. So it's like back in the day when you were taking callers, Jeff. We take a lot of questions in the chat. So
yeah.
We'll see where that takes us.
Nobody's going to ask a single GD question about that sorry-ass basketball team that lost again over the weekend to Stanford, and now we're 13-7 and 4-5 in the ACC. It was like grand opening for a moment. Now it's grand closing. So get yourself geared up for a little Florida State baseball questioning, buddy. You're going to get some of that because what are we, 18 days away? Can't wait.
It's coming close, man. I think, Link Jarrett's going to meet with the media. He was supposed to meet with the media last week, but that little snowstorm threw a wrinkle in things. So, he's going to meet with the media tomorrow. And, there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about with baseball. And I'm just, anxious to go see what they look like. It's going to look much different than it did a year ago, but still really impressive.
I began today's show not with looking at the NFL. I went back to that, but I started a little bit with the acquisition, if you will. Hold on tight to these guys. You never know if they'll still be here when the time comes. But Justin Brown, the offensive lineman at 6'7", 270 pounds. I'm very interested. I know we're all, as staff members, going to be looking at different aspects. We'll have the big picture in mind when we go out to practice and when they start the tour of duty and all that sort of stuff. But for me, it's about the lines of scrimmage. I think looking at the playoff teams, those that could endure injuries to their offensive and defensive lines and still produce, had the best chance to really feed it, obviously, to their skill position players. But everybody's got some talent at wide receiver. Everybody's got some talent at running back. So these lines of scrimmage are going to be everything for me. And I'm kind of going to want to get a sense of what Herb Hand is like as a teacher and as a recruiter. I thought it was good news for the Noles to get a big-time recruit like that on the offensive line. Some say 4-star, some say 3-star. But 6'7", 270 with a lot of room to grow is a good thing.
Yeah, he's definitely got a great frame, and he's going to need some time to put some meat on those bones. But in terms of one of the things I've liked so far about this, especially the UCF guys, but really both infusions, the Nebraska guys as well, is that they've pretty much been able to use the relationships that they had built before to carry over. And so you look at Javon Boggs, the wide receiver that they had committed to UCF.
Mm-hmm.
They transferred to Florida State, and it's not shocking that a kid would want to come to Florida State. But it's like when these things opened up, these players seem to want to follow them. And Chasten Brown, you talked about as a Georgia offensive lineman that was committed to UCF, really like Herb Hand and Gus Malzahn, committed to them during the process, and then decommitted right when they decided to leave UCF. And he apparently had told the coaches he committed officially this weekend, but he apparently told the coaches a month ago that he was going to be coming to Florida State. So there definitely seems to be real strong connections there. Now the key is what we have to see is how good are these evaluations, and that's what it's all going to come down to. I heard you mention a little bit in the first hour about Alex Atkins taking this offensive line from terrible to decent, or maybe average to above average early on, and he did the biggest thing he did was he got them to know who to block. You didn't see the defensive linemen just running free the way we did for those previous seasons. But on the flip side of it, he didn't show the ability to recruit and develop players at a higher level, and so that's got to be what we see from Herb Hand. Do you have any feelings, I guess I should ask you, about the schedule that we've seen, that we know of already? I mean, Virginia with the first ACC game on a Friday night on the road in Charlottesville. I was fine with it. I just didn't get a chance to talk to you about it yet. Yeah, no, I think the schedule lays out pretty well. I mean, the problem is, man, it's hard to, remind myself. I keep needing to remind myself that it's not like it used to be where you really could gauge what a team is going to be from year to year. Mm-hmm. It's just so hard now. I mean, all these teams, have, very new rosters from year to year. And then, you got coaches moving all the time. And so it's just really hard to handicap. So yeah, but as far as how it lays out, I mean, I think it lays out pretty well. I like the fact that personally, I like Miami back in early October.
You and me both, buddy. That's the way it should always be.
That's where it should be. And then, I think it, sets up to, you're curious to how Clemson and NC State fall later in the year. That's going to be a key one. You'd rather not go to both of those stadiums back to back. So we'll have to see how that plays out. And then obviously, you got Florida locked in. But yeah, no, I think you're never going to get everything you wish for, but I think it lays out pretty well so far.
Couple big picture questions for you. Ira, are you hearing over there at the university that everything will be a full go and operating fully functional at Doak Campbell Stadium, Bobby Bowden Field, for that first game against Alabama?
I mean, I think a lot of people are wondering, but I haven't heard anything that it won't be. Definitively, you definitely hear people, kind of wondering. It's such a massive project, and from what I understand, that they haven't had any major problems in terms of, obviously last week probably wasn't ideal, with the weather standpoint, but I haven't heard of anything major problems. But yeah, I mean, I think people are going to be curious about it all the way through. So I don't have anything definitive, but I definitely know people are, kind of on the edge of their seat, wanting to know if it's all gonna be able to be ready.
Yeah, obviously they're hoping to make that the case, and I am too, just like all the fans are that go to the games. Like, you can withstand all of the setbacks from a year ago on and off the field if you walk in and everything is functioning at a high level and it looks great and the experience is fun and you have working Wi-Fi and up-to-date scores and the like and everything else. Just kind of
listen, man. It has to be. I mean, here's the thing: when you have an antiquated stadium and you're not charging a lot of money, people will put up with BS. But if you're going to charge top dollar because you're billing it as this great experience and things don't work or things are not ready, that's going to be tough, because you ask people to pay a lot of money. The expectations are much higher. So yeah, man, whatever they've got to do, they need to make it happen.
Is there an aspect of this that they were originally most concerned about? Because I get people ask me a variety of questions about what that experience is going to be like, and I'm woeful at giving them any kind of an answer. I don't know, but does anything change with parking? Does anything, like, was there anything specifically they were worried about not being ready in time when this whole thing got underway?
No, not that I know of, but I think that, to me, again, where the expectations are raised is when you start asking people to give, to make large donations just to have the right to have some of these seats and packages. Again, people are going to have a higher expectation. Just like you go to dinner at a nicer place, you expect a higher level of service. And I think if you look at the last few years, there have been constant complaints about people getting into the stadium, the lines to get into the stadium, about the concessions, about the offerings, about, this stand ran out of food, this stand ran out of beer, this whatever. That all stuff, can happen when you're not charging what they're going to be charging. And I think that they need, I'm sure they understand it, but they definitely need to understand it, that, people are going to expect maybe not a 5-star restaurant experience, but they're going to expect a much better experience than they've expected in the past, because, they're paying the bill for it.
Brother, I'll be watching tonight. You take care. Talk to you tomorrow. Be well.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jeff, man.
Take care. That's Ira Chaffel, Monday Smash tonight. Ian Tom Lang, 7 o'clock. He's not kidding about that stadium experience. I get an email a week. I get a call from one of my booster buddies all over the state constantly. Yeah, I'll be coming up to a lot this year. We better not suck again. And oh, by the way, for what I'm paying, this better be a nice experience. That kind of conversation. I mean, yeah, they asked a lot of people.
Right. Yeah. No BS.
Yeah.
That kind of attitude.
Yeah. It's sort of the, hey, man, I put up with a lot of things for a lot of reasons. All of them begin with, I love my Noles. I wouldn't be doing it otherwise. I understand that we need to be able to charge top dollar and do all these things, but the team and the experience, not a lot of fun a year ago. So people are on edge and they're committed because they're Noles. They're in. But they're right to have very high expectations of a seamless transition. Yeah, maybe the season, maybe you don't go 12-0, and you get that. But you can't be in a situation where you're coming off of that. You were asked for more money. You had to do more to retain a seat, period. Maybe you had to raise your level of support from a booster standpoint. And a lot of people had to do that. My father had to do that. Lots of people we know had to do that. They don't expect to be standing out there wondering why they can't get into the damn stadium, which is my biggest complaint whenever I go as a fan. It's like, what are we doing out here, man?
Yeah, for me, it would be the Wi-Fi. I know that from just being out there at practice or being around there for a baseball game. Wi-Fi is shaky, and I'm thinking to myself, well, there's 5,000 people here. What happens when there's 12-fold that amount of people? This doesn't stand a chance. Or if I'm trying to catch somebody in the stadium during the game, maybe if there's a post-game plan after I'm done with the show, ain't no way. I got to send them a green text message. I got to change that thing from an iMessage to a green text message and hope they get it 2 hours later. That's the way it works currently, and that's going to have to change. I did hear Michael Alford say twice, driving back from Hotel Indigo for our pregame shows this year, I'll catch what's going on, and sometimes it'll be a Mike Norvell interview, sometimes it'll be an Alford interview. So I'll catch what's going on stadium side. And ahead of schedule is what I heard during the season last year. Now, I don't know if there have been any setbacks since that point, but that's not that long ago. We're only in January. So as of 2 months ago, 3 months ago, they were believing that both the football-only facility and the stadium were moving real fast, and they were going to be more than ready. And they need to be because it's a front-loaded home schedule. Well, your two best games are in the first 5 weeks of the season.
The fact that you have Alabama to start the season, like at the time that game was scheduled, if you had told us, hey, not only are you playing Alabama, not only are you hosting Alabama, but you're going to do so coming off of 2-10. That's going to cause fans to be on edge because they don't know the direction. They thought they did, but they don't know the direction the program's going. The most staunch Mike Norvell supporter would have to concede that they have very real concerns. There are people who are like, hey, listen, I think Mike's going to get it done. I'm like, yeah, me too. I hope he does. I'm rooting for him too. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a good coach. I think he lost his way a little bit a year ago, but we'll see. We'll see him bounce back. If ever you're going to go 2-10 and try to bounce back from it, this is the era to do it with unlimited transfers. Yeah, I agree. But then I also push back a little bit with them. Like, you sure? And that's the thing. They're like, well, I mean, I think, like, how could you be sure?
I just put on the hat of logistics director, something I've done over the years with the old FM dial place. It's always a nerve-wracking deal when you're going to host an event or put on something, a production of sorts.
Yeah.
And the numbers that you get the day of are at a scale that you cannot rehearse for, which means something's going to go crazy. If you are the person in charge, and is it Legends? I don't know. Because I know that they do sales, but they also do hospitality.
Yeah,
whatever company it is, that's going to be in charge of the kitchen, that's going to be in charge of the concessions, that's going to be in charge of suite relations. You don't get Texas A&M Commerce or East Texas A&M.
No, you get Ala effing Bama.
Man, you got a shot to knock that out of the park. What if your point of sale system goes down because everything's overwhelmed from a bandwidth standpoint because you couldn't warm up? This is where the spring game would have helped, but they had no chance there. I understand that. They should book some sort of low-level concert at least for the middle of August. just to be able to go through this a little bit and see what it's going to be like.
Well, I'll tell you something right now, Tom. They would have no point of sale issues if they had hired my guys from Tried and True Consulting. I can tell you that right now.
It's almost like I teed that up.
A payments and business solutions company is what Tried and True is. And they've got the ad board stuff. They've got the payment and business solutions, which I talked about, focusing on your bottom line. They operate peak efficiency at all times. Let's go, Florida State. Find my man Don or Joe or Rusty. Make that call, 844-464-6653. Or if you're the big to-do over at Florida State with decision-making power, you scan that QR code while you're watching the Jeff Cameron Show, trying to keep up with the masses. Again, that number, 844-464-6653. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs level off around 67 this afternoon under cloudy skies with a slight chance for showers. Winds out of the southwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Cloudy skies expected tonight, slight chance for showers, lows around 46. More clouds than sun with fog in spots early tomorrow, highs around 65. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 65.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So, like, different breeds, like different kinds.
There's like families. There's different families, and
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch
or the Yeti, right?
Yeah,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape, and I've
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Is your septic system talking? Well, when it hits the fan, it's no fun at all. And if it comes up from the ground just bubbling out of your land, man, you can guarantee that definitely ain't Texas tea. At a time like this, there's only one call to make. Terry West Plumbing, your trusted septic and sewer experts. From pump outs to inspections, repair, new installation, or when it's really hitting the fan. Contact Terry West Plumbing today. Get only the best with Terry West. Visit terrywestplumbing.com.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean?
No Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean,
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
University's under a lot of pressure. I was just thinking about, per our last discussion, last segment, what an interesting time. I mean, this could go really well, and we could look back on this many years from now in which we say, wow, that was transformative. I mean, we undertook a huge lawsuit. We undertook 2 massive construction deals. We did, we did suffer a huge setback on the field and bounced back from it. If things go well, that's the tenor of the conversation, right? Like, we handled all of this turbulent times and came out the other side feeling good. Or we can say, well, man, they bit off more than they could chew. They didn't get helped out by the fact that we looked like we had, emerged from our slumber and we're again in a elite program, only to fall back down. And the next thing you knew, the lawsuit didn't go the way we wanted. And, they bumbled the opening to the stadium the next year when they played Alabama. All of a sudden you're having a very different conversation.
I was still hung up on that, the opening of the stadium. I hadn't really considered it as a logistics manager or a director of that department. You cannot get that wrong. You can't. It's your first impression with people that you just asked to double, triple, quadruple their contributions to the university.
Yeah, they're going to want to be treated
Alabama
like kings and queens. Yes.
And they're going to be bringing their friends. This is the game that they bring their friends for. If you open with Kent State, they might just go themselves, bring the kids. But this is where they get to show off all their new toys to their friends, and they don't want to be embarrassed. If they order an extra bottle of this liquor or this bottle of wine or champagne, and it takes an hour, you don't come back from that. You've now embarrassed me in front of my well-to-do friends, and I don't feel that these are the folks you're dealing with in the luxury side of the equation. You have to be buttoned the hell up, and I don't know how you dress rehearse for that.
Well, I don't think you can to the degree that would make you feel comfortable. I agree with you there. Ooh. But also, I think they're two separate things. I think there's the expectation of efficiency and what my box, my football box that I have, private box, or let's say I'm a gold, whatever I am, right? I'm maybe even the Champions Club or whatever. Depending on the level I'm paying, there's that experience, right? How seamless is it? From the time I park the car to the time I get in the line to the time that I get to my spot, when I have my first drink, my first bite of food, all of that. That's one thing. How's the internet working? Good. Hey, that's a first for Doak. All that stuff, right? Great. And then there's the game. And that's an entirely separate thing that is not, they're not contingent. I understand they may bleed over into how you feel about things.
Especially if it's not good on the field.
But that's what I mean. Like, they could get everything right off the field. They could get everything right, from the look of the stadium to the way it operates to the professionalism of the people serving the food and drinks in the boxes, all that stuff. They could get all that right, and you could lose 38-7. One, doesn't necessarily reflect any way on the other. But you're right. I also live in the real world. And that is that if you get your ass kicked and things don't go smoothly.
Right.
It's
a double whammy. I will say, a lot of times social media and the message boards can be a place where, especially during a game, you just want to stay away from.
Yes, most of the time, yes.
I can tell you, after reading the tribal council and being a part of the staff now for 3.5, 4 years, when it comes to stadium complaints, most of those threads have a proper amount of punctuation, which tells you the person is reasoned and they've got legitimate gripes.
Yeah.
People have been able to separate, I think, fairly well and on a fair basis, the product versus the presentation. And they've been harsh but fair. And I think they've been very patient with Doak's failings. And this is to Ira's point, because the price point is low enough.
It was.
You can even get to the Champions Club and feel, it's all you can eat. What do you expect? And that $1,500 hurt on the front end. It was $1,500. Now I get the rest of the season tickets for this price. There will not be patience from the that next tier that you're trying to get renewals from. There will be no patience. You have to nail it. And that home schedule, to get it to tonight's point, again, Alabama early, that's going to help dictate how you play in that game, the amount of people that show up for Kent State and for East Texas A&M. And then you got Miami, and that is going to dictate how the final 3 home games that we're learning tonight, which aren't exactly headliners.
No.
Wake Forest and Pitt and Virginia Tech. Those are your last 3 home games. Boy, there's a lot on the line those first 5 to 6 weeks of the football season for both Doak and then obviously the football program at large.
Yeah, I just think about the central figures here that have helped make these decisions and the timing of those decisions and deciding to bite off that much. And people are certainly hoping that it's not more than they can chew, right? That's a lot. That's a huge undertaking, simultaneous, with a lot on the line. And that's why I say it's a massive time. It doesn't mean they're going to fail. They might succeed. I'm not saying this in an ominous tone. I'm just taking a step back and saying, whoo, there's a lot here. There is a lot here. They may get it right. Maybe that year this next season we're talking about it, glowingly. I'm certainly hopeful, obviously.
It's the equivalent in football terms of Billy Napier's games against LSU and Ole Miss last year.
You're like, what?
You kind of need to turn in some good performances or you're gone. So when he wakes up that morning before the first game, he goes, okay, big day. In the same way for the hospitality group and the athletic director and the athletic director's office, where they're looking to get renewals, man, if they knock it out the park, think about it the other way. If they knock it out the park and Florida State splits its games with Alabama and Miami, let's say they beat Miami in October. So they go 1-1 in that stretch of 2 marquee home games and the hospitality's through the roof. You don't think they're sticking renewals in people's faces then and there?
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the time to convert.
As an aside, just because we had fun with this a year ago and Florida surprised us, you got to give them a lot of credit. They went 4-4 in conference, 8-5 overall. Would have never guessed it. But this is their schedule next year. Long Island, South Florida, LSU, Miami, Texas, Texas A&M, Georgia, Tennessee, Ole Miss, us. God, dog. I mean, it is just brutal. Billy's got to be like, you sons of bitches. What in the world, fellas? I tap danced my way out of this thing once. I don't know. But they believe in him, and they got a guy at quarterback, so that goes a long way. But again, just saying that out loud, you're like, at Miami, at LSU, at Texas A&M, at Ole Miss, hosting Florida State, hosting Tennessee, the Georgia. I mean, it's insane.
This is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Housing NMLS 373031.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com.
Hey man, if you heard the now, Calvert Jewelry is the best in town. Rings, diamonds, earrings, bracelets, and more. And Calvert Jewelry, jewelry store.
When was the last time you randomly did something nice for someone that means a lot to you? Now, I say this every day at the end of my show for everybody to be a better person today than you were yesterday. Well, one way to do that is to drop into Pentalta and get a gift for someone who deserves it. It'll brighten their day, their week, maybe even their year. You don't have to wait for a holiday or special occasion, so don't wait to go check out a true local gem, serving Tallahassee since 1988. Now, sing along with me, and I'll see you at Pentalta.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee. This is Real Talk 93.3. More of the Jeff Cameron Show is coming up next. Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 brought to you by Fulmar's Pawn, Gun and Gold. More than you might expect with 2 great locations in Tallahassee.
NBA, the Orlando Magic beginning a 6-game road trip tonight, starting in Miami, where they'll take on the Heat. The Magic had a 5-game losing skid snap Saturday with the win against Detroit, and they're tied with the Pistons for 6th place in the Eastern Conference standings. College basketball, Wednesday night, Florida State will be home in Tallahassee, taking on Virginia Tech. The Noles are back from California, where they've dropped both games to Cal and Stanford. They're 13-7, 4-5 in the ACC. Florida off until Saturday. They'll face Tennessee in Knoxville. The Gators beat the Vols in Gainesville earlier this season by 30 points. Florida coming off a win against Georgia. They're 18-2 and 5-2 in conference play. And Super Bowl 59 set in New Orleans February 9th as the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Philadelphia Eagles. This sports update brought to you by Flomar's Pawn, Guns, and Gold. More than you might expect. I'm Tony Desiri, Real Talk 93.3.
If you love designer brands and you love clearance, then you're going to love this. Macy's is having a huge designer clearance event right now with incredible new designer markdowns on cold weather styles from BCBG, Hugo Boss, Michael Kors, and more. How big are the markdowns? How about Coach boots for $200 or less? So if you're looking for the things you love all in one place, come in and shop the designer clearance event at Macy's today. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Members, it's here. Milo's Rewards Week deals for members only are up for grabs. You name it, we've got it for less. Get up to 40% off store-wide on hundreds of items, including select bath, tools, paint, and more. So what are you waiting for? Join for free today and get instant access to Milo's Rewards Week deals. Lowe's knows home improvement. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Florida man, what's wrong this time?
Well, it's my alligator Hank again. It's so dang cold. He's been digging all these holes in my backyard trying to find some heat to keep himself warm. But he doesn't want to come out to eat, so I have to yank him by his tail. Now my back is killing me again.
Poor Hank. I mean, I'm really sorry about your back pain.
You have any idea how hard it is to pull an alligator out of his heat hole when it's colder than a polar bear's toenails outside? Not to mention the added weight of the gold chain I bought Hank last year for his birthday.
Well, it's time to get you back in to see the doctors at Fenn Chiropractic. You can book your appointment online, so there's no waiting in the cold.
You're right again. Look out, Dr. Finn. I'm coming in hot.
At Finn Chiropractic, they'll get to the root of your pain and deliver the solutions. Book your appointment online at FinnChiro.com, and you'll even get an online discount. Visit FinnChiro.com today and find your path to a pain-free tomorrow.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but honey, tell the kids to drink water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mnlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
and too much time between now and the Super Bowl. Hate the 2 weeks, but it is set. Super Bowl 59. I did the thing, Tom, where I went back during the break and figured out my earliest memories of these games. And how many games kind of fall through the cracks over the years where you're like, I forgot about that Super Bowl. Pretty good. And then there's ones that maybe you had a higher opinion of, but then when you look at it, you see the score, you remember where it was and when it was, and you go, it's not good game. I was disappointed with that one.
The 90s was a run of awful Super Bowls, and that's when I first started watching the game, and I can remember watching the game as a young elementary school student. And my first one was San Francisco, San Diego. That's the first one I can remember.
That's the first one you remember, that ass beating?
Yeah, and then the Cowboys blew out a couple of teams in there. I think the best one of the 90s, the first one I can remember, is This One's for John. Elway versus the Packers. And then Packers-Patriots was kind of close for a minute, too, between Favre and the Tuna and Bledsoe.
Yeah, that didn't end up being that good, though. It ended up being 35-21,
Yeah, the best one probably was Denver-Green Bay in the entirety of my 90s time.
Well, I was thinking about the Bills because, they went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost all of them. And that began in 91 in Tampa Stadium. And that was the best one of the bunch. They lost 20-19 to the Giants. That's the famed Super Bowl that Whitney Houston sang the national anthem at. And, man, that game was awesome. And it's the famed Scott Norwood game. You remembered after that, did you say? Yeah, you remembered 49-26 over San Diego a few years later.
Yeah. I remember that we were still watching as a family, and I was rooting at that point for the 49ers to score 49 because I was a child, and I thought that was cool.
And they did. They did.
Score 49, come on!
Yeah, and they did. Oh, that's pretty funny.
And my dad said, this game's over. Why are we? And he was right.
Oh, yeah, it was. So the Cowboys blowing out Buffalo twice didn't do anything for you. Washington did the same. I certainly remember all of those. I was trying to think back when we were talking about AFC, NFC all-time great matchups where one quarterback is the reason that other guys aren't winning. And, the analogy I gave was, this is Phil Mickelson during the Tiger era. Like, man, really? I'm awesome at this game of golf, but this dude is otherworldly. And right now, if you're in the AFC as a quarterback, Josh Allen's awesome. He's just not Patrick Mahomes. And same goes for Lamar and everybody else you could name. Now, maybe a fairer way to do this is to have the different discussion that we've had over the years. And that is Tom Brady if he doesn't go to New England and back up Bledsoe and then have the opportunity to be coached by Belichick?
And have a defense begin his career.
Correct.
In
Dominant
style.
defense where he doesn't have to do much and he can kind of ease into the works. Does he do that? We'll never know, obviously, but you ask the question, what if he ended up at an awful organization? Name your bad organization at the time, Detroit. Okay, if Tom Brady gets drafted to Detroit all those years ago, do we look at him in the same light? Probably not. I mean, he would have probably also been very, very good. We're not taking away the skill, everything that he accomplished, but would he be the legend? And I would say this to you. If Josh Allen had been drafted by Kansas City and Andy Reid were his head coach, would we be having this conversation about him? Would we be doing the same if Lamar Jackson had been drafted by Andy Reid in the Kansas City Chiefs? Because I kind of think we would in the case of both of those gentlemen.
There's a fair chance. There's a real fair chance. Surrounding cast, it's not just about skill position players, which in that early time of everybody's career, they were loaded. Travis Kelce at the height of his power, Tyreek Hill at the height of his speed, and then running backs that they shuffle in and out over the years, but they were just fine. Offensive line, very good. Defense, solid. Yeah, there's that mind for that offense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a really good chance.
Yeah, it's always, that's where you're frustrated if you're a fan base like Buffalo today because, man, you've got a good coach who's a defensive mind, and you guys never play good defense against Kansas City. So I get pissed. It's like we were saying about the problem you have is if you are a whatever-minded coach, your side of the ball better be good. Andy Reid is an offensive genius, as he's labeled by most people around the game. And they oftentimes, in the biggest moments, shine on offense when they have to.
It just, as I said earlier, it felt like the Monday night game between Tampa and Kansas City, where in the fourth quarter and overtime, you knew you weren't going to get off the field unless they turned it over, screwed up themselves.
Well, and you knew, too, that if for any reason it was tied and they had the ball with 5 minutes to play, you just lost the game.
Right. Which is why you should go for two.
Why you should go for two in that situation, which is very different than what we were talking about in the first
It's different
hour.
than the playoffs. Yeah, I hear you there. I'll tell you, I was more stunned by Buffalo's stop to get the field goal than I was by the ruling on the 4th and 1.
Sure.
When they went to commercial break on the 4th and 1, I thought, Buffalo's screwed here. If they ruled it on the field as a first down, they'd get it. Even though there's evidence, they're not gonna change this. I was stunned that even after the sack, it's 2nd and 17 or whatever, 2nd and goal from the 17. I still thought
the Chiefs were going to score a touchdown. And they didn't. They got the field goal.
They did. I'm waiting for a flag. And not conspiratorial. That's just the NFL. There's a flag in the end zone. Oh, they get a redo. And it happened to Philly yesterday. Washington was guilty of a flag. I think it was Lattimore who really showed his true colors again yesterday, which is kind of cool.
It's always a fight.
His legacy gets tarnished more and more every time he's in isolation. But it didn't happen. And when, okay, Butker's really going to kick this. Oh, it went. Here we go.
Well, that's why I
have to go. All right, let's see what happens.
That's what I was saying in the first hour. Despite you argue amongst each other about whether they should have changed that call or not, it was with 13 minutes to go in the game. The Bills did what they needed to do. They got the ball at the end of the game with all of their timeouts. 3.5 minutes to play. You can't ask for a better opportunity. You can't.
They got spooked. I think some of it is defense and some of it is they got spooked. That first play of the drive, they get hit in the backfield for a loss of 3 or 4.
Yep.
Did they call another run?
No.
I don't think they did. They might have called one on a 2nd and short.
You wouldn't have a 2nd and 13, but
no, of course not.
Yeah.
You need to clear that problem.
Well,
you need to clear that hurdle. But now in neutral situations, it's 3.5. You still do need to think about clock dynamics as well.
Yes, you don't want to score too quickly.
They look like they were affected by that first play of the drive and the way they called the next series of downs and the following series after that until they came off the field.
They looked like they needed Andy Reid calling plays is what they looked like. By the way.
And that's Joe Brady.
Who turned down the Saints job today. Woo, that's got to be a kick to the boys.
Did he really?
Yes. Can you imagine? You've waited. Clearly, they waited to the last team. They're waiting to hire one of their guys who worked in the organization. And he's like, no, I'm good, man. Ooh. Hey, it means he hates the quarterback situation.
Yeah, wonder what Cam Jordan has to say about that.
Well, the other problem he has is that's a salary cap nightmare. Brady's like, you ain't putting me in a situation where I don't have a quarterback and no money. This is not what we do.
It's the best rivalry in the NFL right now is New Orleans versus the Cap. I mean, it is a brawl every year.
Well, and Dallas is screwed that way too because they gave all the money to yeah, that's a tough situation.
Going Schottenheimer, huh?
Hey, good luck to him, whatever. But I it's interesting to watch the jobs that people will say yes to, will interview for, will seem in earnest to be intrigued by the opportunity. When you're a young, and Joe Brady is a very young coach in the NFL to be in the position that he's in. He obviously had superstardom at a young age, partly because obviously what he did at LSU with that juggernaut offense that I would argue is the best in the history of college football. He gets these chances. He's succeeded. He's now gets the opportunity to be a head coach, and he says, no, people don't turn down head coaching jobs all that often unless something's rotten in Denmark, unless they have an agent who's like, we can do better. Wait one more year.
You'll still have Josh Allen where you are.
Yeah, you still got a ton of talent. You're going to be able to win a lot of games. You'll put up numbers next year. You're still going to be a commodity. Well, that's when you're looking around at the landscape. You're going, could they fire their coach in Cincinnati next year? They could. Want to take over that offense? You've worked with those guys before. Let's wait. Let's wait and see.
I like Zach Taylor, but you're right. They go, They mess around. They go 8-9, miss the playoffs.
They missed the playoffs. I mean, you can do it again with that guy quarterback. You kind of look incompetent if that happens. You got the best receiver in the NFL and an elite quarterback. What are we doing out here? Come on now.
Well, an elite quarterback who gets killed every week, that hasn't changed his whole career.
No. It's partly his fault, but not all.
Correct. But he's the Shedeur Sanders of the professional ranks.
Just taking an ass kicking and getting up.
And then he'll get up and make a throw.
Over and over and over again. So the Chiefs are 1 game shy of the first three-peat in NFL history. They do it by scoring the most points they've scored in a game this season. They've won 17 consecutive wins in one-score games. And again, even for the greatest teams, like those Patriot teams, like those early 90s Cowboys teams, like those Chiefs teams that we see now, and others, you can be the best team with the best quarterback and an elite coach, and even still there's going to be a game or two a year that is whisker thin. I mean, and this was that. I'm sure if you're a Chiefs fan, you're sitting at home thinking, we just gave the ball back to Josh Allen with 3.5 to play and 3 timeouts? I don't know. I don't like this.
Even in the throes of the game with the turnovers, for that reason, with the fumble luck going against them, if you're a Chiefs fan, you feel like in the fourth quarter you should be up by 10. I feel as though we've owned this game. We haven't really been stopped except if we stop ourselves. How is it only a 1-score game? How are we behind?
Yeah.
What the hell?
What's going on? This is not good.
Andy, fix us.
And he did. Well, and in the postseason, Patrick Mahomes runs. He doesn't run in the regular season. In the matchup that Kansas City lost to Buffalo in the regular season, he didn't run one time. 0 rushes in that game. 2 touchdown rushes in this game. I mean, he's going to run the ball when it's on the line.
I did the Joe Public thing, and I tried to parlay it, but I should have just played it alone. Mahomes over-under rushing totals 24.5 yesterday. Easy money.
Yeah, in the biggest games, he'll run. They unleash him there. He's been hit too many times in his career going back and had a couple of injuries to where they don't want him to run in the regular season, and they don't need him to because they play great defense. They can do enough in those regular season games to skirt by. They got a little lucky on a few of those games, blocked field goal from 34 yards, things like that. That's a little lucky. But, I mean, the record would have been good enough. They know that. They're going to win the division.
Oh, well, and again, once he got hurt in the sneak a few years back.
Yeah, they don't run
that yesterday in the broadcast. You got to have somebody, though. I believe the Ravens, is it Andrews that they put in that situation?
Yeah.
You do need to have a designated sneak guy.
You got to have a dude.
And are we going to get back to the sneak instead of the tush push? Because it's a different play. It's run differently. People are ready to go for the push because there's a half tick delay to it where they can jump, and the offensive line does things differently than a sneak.
I think that the NFL has to address it. I've talked about this before. We should go back to this being against the rules where you aid a runner like that by pushing him from behind. I don't like it. I don't know why they went away from that. But secondarily, I would argue, and I have before, it's an illegal formation. They frequently fan out in such a way that they do not have 7 men on the line. And this happens all the time. Like, that's an illegal formation. Just call it for what it is. That's just a different gripe altogether. They ought not allow for that.
Oh, and they were alert to it yesterday. They got 70 twice for 2 different reasons. Once he was covered as an extra offensive lineman out there, and once he didn't report. So sometimes refs are, sensitive to that topic, and they were yesterday.
What's a Super Bowl that you watched? You were of age to have been locked into the sport that you do not really remember or even think too much about in terms of, I know I saw it, but I don't remember who scored and why. And, I know who won, but I don't really remember the game all that well.
Patriots-Panthers overtime, or not overtime, the kick at the buzzer. I know the players.
Right.
But I couldn't tell you the sequence of the game.
What's-his-face played the best game of his life?
Delhomme.
Yeah. Jake Delhomme played like he'd never played before.
He made a throw or two down the left sideline that I can recall. I couldn't tell you who was up first, if there was a comeback. No way. No chance to tell you what happened between the Patriots and the Panthers.
That's interesting. You picked a good one. I hadn't thought about that one. For some reason, the Aaron Rodgers 31-25 over Pittsburgh.
Oh, I remember that one.
You remember that game well?
Yeah, that's the one I got screwed on the national anthem because Aguilera flubbed the line.
Oh, that's right.
Still owe Lulu. I probably owe him 3 cases of beer with on Prime Plus One. I remember that one because I was sick. I was deathly ill, and I wanted to go to the Super Bowl party that was going to kick ass, and I just had to sit there alone, sick, and watch the game.
I don't want to say this out loud because it's going to happen, but I would tell you that 7 of the last 10 Super Bowls, I've been deathly ill. I've had a hard for something about this time of year, Super Bowl time of year. I've been I was sick as hell when the Bucs beat the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl in San Diego.
Oh,
when we
when we
hammered the Raiders, I was deathly ill. I couldn't believe it. It's game day. It's the Super Bowl, and it's my Bucs in their first ever Super Bowl. And all my friends are calling. Everybody says, let's go. All this stuff, like, let's fly out there. My mom and I were talking. I laid on the couch with a blanket up to my neck and just kind of sat there. Good job, boys.
That's funny you say that.
Good job, boys.
I was sick that whole week. My first day feeling better was the Super Bowl. They had a dispute, Sunshine Network did, with Bright House. It might have been Time Warner back in the day. Cable carrier dispute. So Sunshine Network got shut off that entire week, which stinks because I'm a Lightning fan. And instead, they replaced it with ESPN News. And at the time, ESPN News was actually a channel.
It was a thing, yeah.
They had all of the press conferences. So I'm falling in and out of sleep, but I can watch every press conference all week of Super Bowl week. It was great.
The game you don't remember, 2005, New England 32, Carolina 29. You could argue at that time, I think, that we're beginning to see the emergence of what would become the Tom Brady.
Yeah. Small correction. It was 03, but yes.
You talking about the
Carolina, New England one? It was the one right after we won next year.
Yeah, but February 1st, 2004.
Right. Yeah. You said 5. That just because I remember. My senior year of high school one, but yeah.
32-29. And then there's New England and Philadelphia. And then there's the ugly-ass Pittsburgh-Seattle one, which is hideous. I was in Dolphin Stadium for the Colts 29-17 win over the Bears. And that will be forever memorable because the opening kickoff went to the house. It poured rain, and I saw Prince at halftime.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That was a really good one. I remember laughing during the halftime show because of the giant phallic symbol and thinking to myself, this is, of course, what Prince would do at the Super Bowl.
The shadow cat.
Yes. I was like, yes, he's doing it. Good job, Prince. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hey man, if you heard about the jewelry is the best in town. The rings, diamonds, earrings, bracelets, and more. And the jewelry.
When was the last time you randomly did something nice for someone that means a lot to you? Now, I say this every day at the end of my show for everybody to be a better person today than you were yesterday. Well, one way to do that is to drop into Pintailta and get a gift for someone who deserves it. It'll brighten their day, their week, maybe even their year. You don't have to wait for a holiday or special occasion, so don't wait to go check out a true local gem, serving Tallahassee since 1988. Now sing along with me, and I'll see you at Pintailta.
Ain't nothing but a G-pop, baby.
I am 99% sure that is not how the lyrics go.
Well, you like remixes, right?
Of course.
Well, think of this as a Grassroots Coffee remix per se, because Grassroots Coffee is now in the single-serve coffee pod game.
Dude, those single-serve coffee pods and cups are weak sauce.
Not Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. They have more coffee in them than regular single-serve pods and cups.
Seriously?
And not only do they have more coffee, they have a built-in filter for better brewing. They fit in most Keurig machines, and they are fully compostable.
It's still the small batch, slow roasted coffee you love, so go to grassrootscoffee.com and get your box of G-Pods today.
Baby.
See? Remix!
Well, actually, that's more of an homage.
Grassroots Coffee, locally owned, locally roasted, and made for everyone, loved everywhere.
Grassroots Coffee G-Pods. So very good.
Honey, I'm home.
We're in here, honey.
So why are all my friends here?
Have a seat, Dave. We need to talk about your problem.
Problem? I don't have a problem.
Dave, You do have a problem with your grill. Here's some pamphlets from Hearth and Patio. They are waiting for your call to help you upgrade your grill.
If you or someone you know needs a grilling intervention, call Hearth and Patio today at 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282 or hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
At Decorating Center, we're your locally owned Benjamin Moore retailer. We're your store for quality with brilliant and durable paints in a variety of sheens and thousands of colors. We're your store for service with one-on-one advice for contractors and homeowners. We're your local experts, and we're here to help with all your painting projects. Benjamin Moore, available at Epps Decorating Center with 2 locations in Tallahassee. Find a store near you and visit EppsDecorating.com. That's EppsDecorating.com.
When disaster strikes, the food supply is the first domino to fall. It can start quietly. An emergency alert, a breaking news headline.
This is G. Deckerhoff. In 1979, my friend Guy Moore opened his first store. Over 45 years later, Garnet & Gold is still providing the Seminole Nation with unique ways to show their spirit. As the last locally owned FSU merchandise source in Tallahassee, we're proud to be a part of the Florida State experience and this community. If you're a Seminole like me, this is your store. Garnet & Gold. Go Noles.
Millions, offering 2,000 calories per day with essential vitamins and minerals to keep you strong during a crisis. This food will be there for you when you need it, since it lasts up to 25 years and can ship out to you next day. Go to mypatriotsupply.com now to get $50 off your 4-week emergency food kit. That's mypatriotsupply.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
We got a question at the start of the show in the chat that I did not get back to. Last year's game, by the way, between the Chiefs and 49ers drew 123.7 million viewers on CBS, 7% more than the previous year between the Chiefs and the Eagles, which averaged 115.1 million on Fox. Couple of things here. They won't touch that number, I don't think. Last year's viewership record was a factor that involved something that's not there anymore, which is the debut of the Taylor Swift-Kelsey phenomenon.
You were at Rogers Pub in Rockaway. You know that story. They had an all-you-can-imbibe and eat buffet for $50, which was ridiculously low for up there. That's the equivalent here of 30.
Right.
And when it went to overtime, the owner was yelling, "Shut it down! Shut it down!" And the barmaid said, "No, these people paid. This game continues.
Yeah,
the rounds continue." It was a good night.
But I'm still waiting on them to announce the numbers from yesterday, because I'm gonna bet they set a record there. I mean, to me, it has to be, right? It's somewhere in there. By the way, the big day for Saquon Barkley netted him $1.25 million in contract bonuses. All kinds of stuff in there about if you perform this, score this many times in the playoffs, do this in the divisional series, in the NFC Championship. And yeah, he reached all of his goals, to say the least, and made an extra $1.25 million. Woo-hoo-hoo. This is an under-the-radar story involving college football that I'm excited, because I have a feeling this is where we're headed. And I've talked about this and how exciting it would be to do this job. Now, there's a lot of unknowns, but this is the kind of stuff that we're going to be paying close attention to. And I'm going to be watching, just as every Nole is going to be watching, because I think this is going to play a greater role in a team's and a program's success than is talked about currently. But Southern Cal poached Notre Dame's GM. Did you see this? So the fact that we're even talking about GMs in college football is fascinating, but more and more college football resembles professional football, so this is where it's headed. And how you organize this thing and deal with NIL and unlimited transfers, marketing opportunities, expanded rosters, sort of the unknowns of the house money and all the things that are going to happen after that, and the disbursement of that kind of money to all of your athletes, the availability through the Title IX discussions that we've had, Tom, and all of that for all sports. What percentage goes where and why? Think about what your GM is going to be doing. We know in the NFL, GMs are a big deal. Hell, guys turned down Jacksonville's job one after the other because they didn't like that GM. Now imagine you're a head football coach and you'd like to take the offer from so-and-so, whatever school that might be. But you take a good, long, hard look about how they've handled the organization. How's the GM done in Tallahassee, in Gainesville, in Miami, wherever, right? And you're going to ask that question now. They poached him by offering him $1 million a year. His name's Chad Bowden. They announced the hire for a position that's obviously gaining a ton of importance, and they're tired of the way things are going at Southern Cal. Now, remember, their athletic director and their president a number of years back said, look, this is Southern Cal. We got to stop with the nonsense. We suck at everything. We shouldn't suck at anything. We're USC. We've got rich alumni, huge, famous boosters. We've got this city to offer marketing deals to. Remember the Beats deal? We thought, oh, great. Caleb Williams has got a Beats deal. How in the world is any other school going to rival what Southern Cal could offer with Los Angeles and Hollywood being in their backyard? Turns out Southern Cal's still not any good.
And everybody does a Beats deal now. DJ had one last year.
He did. Southern Cal brings in Notre Dame's GM, and he'll manage that same position. They're going to give him $1 million a year. It more than tripled his salary that he was making with Notre Dame. Now, those contracts, and I tried to look it up, they're not public records because they're private schools. So I can't find out what the hell. But he said that it more than tripled. I mean, good God, Notre Dame, how cheap are you? You got more money than anybody. You're paying this guy next to nothing.
It's a tough gig because you're going to be changing the methods by which you operate every couple of weeks until this thing settles down. Okay, guys, new plan. We have some new guidance from the NCAA that says this is the way we're going to march forward in terms of disbursements and the way we declare what our disbursements will be 2 weeks later. Okay, folks, we have some new guidance. It would appear the Department of Education says that we have to do this way. So everything I said doesn't mean anything now. So let's try this way. That's what the GM's going to have to do over the next year is just kind of sit, twiddle their thumbs, and wait until we're done here with what their job is going to be, what the protocols are going to be.
It's really quite interesting. I would love to be in that position. Now, you're right. It'd be forever changing and probably very frustrating having to, drop what you were doing one day to do something else another day to be compliant. But it would be strange, but it would also be a lot of fun. I feel like that's a fun job. I always like front office stuff like that anyhow. But now you're doing it at let's say you got the job for Florida State and you're helping your alma mater, because that's what Andrew Luck's doing. Andrew Luck got that same job for Stanford, former 4-time Pro Bowler and all-world player at Stanford, went back to his alma mater to become the GM, and they paid him over $1 million a year. It wasn't but a couple of months ago that we heard the stunning news that Adrian Wojnarowski left ESPN, stepped down from his role as their top NBA insider and took the job at his alma mater, St. Bonaventure.
Forgot about that.
It was interesting, right? He was like, I've always wanted to give back to the school. I'm tired of this. I'm on the effing phone 24 hours a day trying to break NBA news, and I'm like in the shower with my phone. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to go be the GM at St. Bonaventure. That's cool.
Woj out.
Yeah, that was it. But now it's true. If you think about what you're having to do, you're now dealing with constant changes, and that's why these paydays are going to be huge. Programs dealing with how to recruit and pay players. You have a combination of revenue sharing on the horizon in 2025 with the House bill. You have name, image, likeness payments to deal with. And until they stop it and end the lunacy, you're going to be dealing with re-recruiting and providing opportunities for your own roster while it gets poached on the regular.
I feel like that's what the collective is going to be for.
Finding marketing opportunities. There's going to be people will be happy about this because they always get caught up in the money. People love to look in other people's pockets. Meanwhile, Shane Beamer's out here getting $50 million more to coach South Carolina over the next decade. You got to be kidding me. Anyhow,
hey, don't be looking in his pockets.
Just letting you know. People get mad at players, and meanwhile, here's this dude.
Oh, wow. I agree there.
So here's the thing. The collectives, are going to have to figure out, from what I'm understanding, marketing opportunities that are going to be much more in line with what the true value, quote unquote, is. Now, I know they're going to sue people. I got the whole idea. The enforcement part of this, you have
with Deloitte.
Yeah, we have an issue with. But I do think, though, in truth, where this is headed is a wrangling, because the true NIL opportunities for a right guard or a middle linebacker are going to be more in line with, you get $10,000 a year and you get to drive my new Pulsar or whatever. Okay. Like yeah. So you
can't fit into a Nissan Pulsar.
But my point is, like, you're not going to get the inducements that they were getting in the past. If you're the starting quarterback, you might have a nice place to live. You might have, a condo that does trade with the university or something along those lines, or a hotel that does, and they give you the suite.
A good point. How does barter work in this whole situation?
Right? So you might get that. You might get a car that's leased that you don't pay for, and you might get a little bit of walking around money, unless you're a megastar, unless you're the guy. Arch Manning's going to do all right because Arch Manning's truly famous. But most of these guys are not. Nobody cares what the starting right tackle says about a restaurant or a car or anything else.
That's true, but media value could also be perceived, and this is me arguing as the player's agent, as impact on success of the program. The success of the program creates media value above and beyond what a 6-6 season would do, and that's why that left guard, if he's an All-American, should be well paid.
Yeah, it's still kind of nebulous. Like, what is the market for a left guard?
Oh,
no, not on the market, because on the market he's going to get that.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, like, once you've signed on somewhere,
yeah,
now you're just going to be getting some low-level endorsement deals that aren't worth much.
You're gonna learn that, though. These universities are going to have to investigate that and come to a conclusion about what the market value of that player is. Right now, it's a guessing game based upon panic that they're going to leave your institution. But that's where, man, I hope you like spreadsheets. If you're the GM of a college.
I like it when somebody else makes them and hands them to me.
Well, then I don't know. Because there's a whole lot of spreadsheeting going on here. Rolling totals, rolling annual averages.
I can look at these, yeah.
Oh, my God. Because what I was going to say is I think that's where the collective is coming in, is if you have everything budgeted out over the course of a couple of years, save for...
You can't.
A couple $1 million.
Right. You got to have a lot of wiggle room, I would think.
Well... if you're going to front load the roster with a bunch of freshmen that you like, this is where the cap casualties and that conversation would come in. The modern college athletics cap casualty. I think when you want to go over, that's when you call on the collective. Well, we got to renegotiate here. He did just become a finalist for the Bednarik, and we want him back. So
yeah,
we don't have any money on our 20 and a half. What can you
do for us? It's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we wanted that. We've always thought that was the fair thing, because look, that's where a guy like Jordan Travis, who, I'm rooting for him, but I don't think there's a good chance that he's going to start in the NFL. Maybe he does. But that injury was devastating, and he was missing some factors that, the teams look forward to begin with. And so if he never does, he made a good chunk of money here. He was rightfully supported financially for being a Heisman candidate and the guy that led an undefeated regular season. That's good. That's good that he had that. But there are so few of those guys, so few. And you're right. The other kinds of deals, like Jordan Travis, you could maybe make an argument would sway somebody in the advertising world.
Sure.
There ain't too many guys on that team that would. Jared Verse might have.
Yeah, Jared Verse probably would have.
Charismatic and talkative, brash.
Jordan would have been worth more media-wise.
Media-wise.
Impact on the game. Future pro potential, different conversations. Not that Jordan didn't have a huge impact. Don't get me wrong there. I'm just saying that if you measure future value or future potential, that's one conversation. But if you're saying media value right now, Jordan Travis was by far the most expensive player on the roster and should have been.
I like this, by the way. This is true. You and I talked about where we were with all of this and what coaches are going to have to be. The idea of a coach handling the responsibilities, all of the responsibilities, seems outdated. I mean, when you have a transfer portal and an NIL and a salary cap. You know, you sign 25 kids, and it used to be that you had those kids for 4 to 5 years. Not anymore. You're dealing with a lot. It's very complex.
This is where slotting and value would be very, very helpful. First year out of high school, you can max make this. Here's what your earning potential is, and it's slotted at a certain amount. That's the problem with the GM position right now, is of the 20.5, I don't know if I can distribute more than half of that to men's sports versus women's sports.
Well, we need some clarity.
Made
no doubt.
proportionally available to is in
Correct.
no way any guidance whatsoever.
Little nebulous. Yes, it's available to somebody like Caitlin Clark.
Right.
But we don't have one of those, so the girls are getting nothing this year.
Yeah. We've got a couple softball players.
It's
I'm going to pay a lot of
$50.
money, but you know who I'm not going to? Anybody on track. Anybody on
swimming.
Swimming. Yeah. Indoor volleyball, sorry.
Lacrosse. Get
Right.
the hell up out of here.
Well, they're just welcoming that in right
Yeah.
now.
Like,
What
no.
a time to add a new sport. Holy crap.
Add that to the list of things they're doing over there.
A lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. All right. We're still in the month of January, and for some of you, that is the get right month. Maybe you had a New Year's resolution that you're going to cut way back on the booze. Well, you still need a little something to maybe help you get through the month. I offer you America's only USDA organic THC gummy. Real THC, no synthetics, 100% legal, fast and free shipping to boot. Let's go. Your default doesn't have to be alcohol. Whether you're into dry January or just trying to be a little bit healthier and relax and have a good time guilt-free, try Cornbread THC gummies. Right now, if you're a Jeff Cameron Show listener, you can save 30% on your first order. Head to cornbreadhemp.com/warchant. Use the code warchant at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/warchant. Code warchant, Cornbread Hemp. This is the good life.
Now, here's your Paul's Termite and Pest Control Tallahassee weather report.
A warming trend underway this week with highs in the 60s and 70s, lows in the 50s by midweek. Slight rain chances to start off the week, then dry with rain chances returning for the end of the week. Tonight, a slight chance of rain, mostly cloudy, low of 44. Tuesday, mostly sunny with a high of 68. Wednesday, mostly sunny with a high of 72. Thursday, more sunshine, high of 73. From Real Talk 93.3, this is Danielle Kelly.
For the elimination of termites, pests, and for a greener lawn too, call Paul's. They'll get them all.
Big parties mean making tough last-minute decisions, but planning the perfect meal shouldn't be one of them. So let the Fresh from Florida Club help. Members can browse hundreds of recipes, from sweet corn with barbecue batter to Florida's spiny lobster bisque, each with local, in-season ingredients to create and save menus ahead of time, so you can sit back and enjoy the party. Visit freshfromflorida.com and join the free Fresh from Florida Club. It could be the easiest decision you'll make all year.
Here's an important COVID-19 announcement for businesses and schools. Has the COVID-19 pandemic stalled or disrupted your business or normal schedules? Has your revenue dropped drastically? Are your customers anxious about coming back in to shop? Well, we've got great news. Pulse Innovations has developed a thermal system with facial and temperature recognition that can end your troubles right now. Everyone knows that one of the fastest and most reliable ways to identify COVID and other viruses is to detect fever. Our new high-tech development can scan up to 20 people all at once from 10 feet away to provide an immediate reading of those that may have a temperature. The system can give your customers a peace of mind when coming into your business. Call us for free details and a free no-obligation demo. Call right now and get that peace of mind.
800-716-4665. 800-716-4665. 800-716-4665. That's 800-716-4665.
Want to play a game with me and Dad?
Mommy's not feeling good.
You need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with Dayquil VapoCool. It's Dayquil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
Come on, honey. Let's let mommy rest.
You guys are amazing. And so is Dayquil VapoCool.
Dayquil VapoCool, the vaporizing daytime coughing, aching, fever, power through your day medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Morning, Paula.
Morning, Ron.
Another day in Adminville, am I right?
What are you working on? Oh!
You okay?
Your tabs. You have so many open.
Yeah, gotta order lunch for the big client meeting. With great responsibility comes tabs.
I can help. Close all those tabs and open just one. EasyCater.com. Online ordering from local restaurants. Plus tools to save time, stay on budget, track expenses.
One tab to rule them all.
EasyCater, the smarter way to order food for work. Order now at EasyCater.com.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I know I couldn't possibly, through the bulk of the show, mention this, but I would ask you, Tom, did you take in any of the golf?
It was tough. Oddly enough, for some reason, the Saturday thing threw me off, even though I was well aware watching Wednesday night. I think Wednesday is probably when I watched the most.
Yeah, Wednesday night, yeah.
They really could stand to just do Tuesday through Friday when the NFL playoffs are on and give us something to watch. But I saw the big putt. Who the hell made it? In the wind. It was a 50-footer right to left. It was like a boomerang in the wind. I saw that putt. And that's about it. Novak won, right? Or no?
I think
Novak didn't win.
Well, I actually didn't check on the end.
Was it?
I actually didn't check on the
Mackenzie Hughes.
Oh,
so there you go. So no. I do know it took forever. I saw the final pairing took nearly 5.5 hours to play their final round. So pace of play is coming up as an issue.
Harris English won, by the way.
Harris English.
And it was a late birdie that did it, and he needed it. And Harris is an interesting dude. I mean, this was a guy who at one time had climbed all the way up to 10 in the world and then was almost off the tour, and then is now trying to fight to get back into the top 25, and obviously winning
that'll do
helps
status
an awful lot. Yeah. So good for him. But this is you brought up the issue. They got to figure something out. I am their audience. I don't turn away. I'm not bored by golf. I love golf. I watch it all the time. I gamble on it. I know the players. I'm aware of the courses, the grass, the winds, all of it.
Yeah, my man, for those of you out there that doubt him, he deploys resources.
Yeah, I do.
At the PGA Tour.
I do. I bet on it.
He deploys resources. This is a big deal that you think he talks about golf a lot on the air. No, Jeff's holding back. He spends a lot of time on the PGA Tour.
I love it. It is a fun thing to gamble on. And I'm not telling you to go do it. And I'm not saying that, hey, but I am saying that if you are a sporting guy or gal, it's worth your time.
Do those Hard Rock commercials strike you as a little
they're aggressive and uncomfortable?
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like that they encourage people who don't know anything.
Yeah, man.
So they're not talking to me. And I'm not trying to be an arrogant guy here, but to Tom's point, I deploy resources into researching golf wagers.
Yeah.
Like data golf and things of that ilk, okay? Now, that's not free.
That's what I'm saying.
You have to pay for these things.
Mm-hmm.
And it tells you everything from course fit, types of grass, shot shapes that do well in this particular type of course.
Do they give you coupon code SAVE200 for these services?
They don't, but it's awesome. And it's it's not everything. You have to use your brain here. I mean, current form matters. Are you playing well? Just because the computer spits out a name.
Right. Multiple weeks in a row.
Yes.
Listen, after a long layoff.
It's done this before where it'll be like, we really like Doug Gim this week. Yeah, well, Doug Gim never wins. And here's the thing about Doug. I'm not going to bet him on an outright because he can't win. It's in his head. But might I bet him in the top 20? Well, let's see. The last 3 Farmers Insurance Opens, he's missed a cut. No, not going to bet him in the top 20.
Your system still loves him because he backdoored 14th at the Players 2 years ago.
Right.
Sit down, Data Golf.
Right.
I got this.
There's a bunch of things you got to look at. I mean, by the way, how bad did it get for Ludwig? I mean, this guy led the tournament after round 1. He was a perfect course fit. He was the Data Golf darling heading into the week. Shot a 63 on day 1. And you're like, well, I got that right. And then my man dropped 75, 74, 79. Jesus, Ludwig. What happened to you? So, it hurt his feelings, just like it hurt Max Gracerman, who I had, who was pacing nicely until, unfortunately for the Gracerman, and a little back-to-back weekend of 74s. I did not get my top 20 out of Gracerman that I had hoped. But you know who I did get a top 20 out of? Thomas Dietrich. Finished 15th like a man.
In 5.5 hours.
I needed him too. Luke Clanton, Florida State, top 15. Bet him as a top 20. That's my man. There we go. So that helped. Hideki Matsuyama did not help me. Well, I had to finish in the top 10, and at one time was tied for third into the third day and decided he wanted to throw up a 76 on Sunday. Ass.
Or Saturday. Yeah.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
Screwing me. What do you think Vincent Norman made for finishing top 40 this week?
Oh, he backdoor top 40?
Backdoor top 40 with a 72 on Sunday.
Which is a good score relative to the field. That was a tough week.
That was a tough week. What do you think he made?
Top 40. Is this a designated event? Probably not. 62 grand.
41,000.
Okay. All right. Giving the farmers a little too much credit.
41-3. You know, it'd be fun to be a golfer, finish 40th, make the cut, on to the next, make another cut, let's say. You're sponsored. You got a NetJets deal. You've got a multi-million-dollar deal with whoever your club manufacturer and clothing manufacturer is. And then every now and again, a check arrives in the mail. Oh, I won 42 grand last week for finishing 40th. How cool is that? It's not a check. It's a automatic deposit.
It is, and it's for about, $6 grand. It's because you win it in Cali. So there go your taxes on winnings in the state of California.
Well, and they probably took off for the gas or whatever they don't
the
pay
resort
for.
He's staying at for 5 days or 6 days. The flight, your agent, your caddy.
But this is where if you're Luke Clanton, who did not get paid, we know what he would have made because he tied for 15th, and the other two gentlemen, or the other three gentlemen that tied for 15th, all got the same. He would have made $132,732.
Yeah, basically 100 grand.
Oh,
they would have split it 4 ways.
But 100 damn grand? I mean, come on now. He's a young lad pulling 100 grand.
The battle's end's got him.
Not for 100 grand, they don't. Not for 100 grand, they don't.
Not 100 grand a week.
Yeah, but if you tied for 7th, you made $302,000, Taylor Pendrith. On to the next, Taylor. Anyhow, that's
we got Pebble this week, though. They got to schedule a better one, please. Schedule a better one for Pro Bowl weekend. Give us Riviera. Well, I know that right now
they can't do Riviera. Yeah.
Pebble. Here we go. Here's your old man. Dirty Harry himself giving you critiques of people's golf swings.
I know. He's near death every time they roll him out there. There's a little bit of that Bob Hope feel to it where you're like, ooh. It was like at the end with Jerry Lewis. They'd have Jerry Lewis out there on the telethon. He had to make a special appearance. 400 pounds in a wheelchair staring off at the distance. You're like, oh, Jerry doesn't know. What are we doing? Why are we rolling Jerry out here?
I saw a meme.
Is that a goiter on his? What is going on?
I saw a meme over the weekend. And it said, because I'm a Star Wars nerd, but it makes it into sports. White Yoda looks like Jerry Jones. And then they had a pale skinned Yoda. I'm like, I think he kind of does.
It's a big damn day for Andrew Novak, who finished third, by the way. 641 grand. That's what you have to think about when guys are lining up putts.
I know Del Solar finished pretty close to last of the people that made the cut. So in the 50s or 60s, unless he had some sort of hellish rebound on Saturday.
66th, you are correct. He finished only ahead of Eric Cole, Mark Hubbard, and Chandler Phillips.
Really? Eric Cole just had a good week, I thought.
Eric Cole's had a good couple of years, but he got beat by Cristobal Del Soler is what he did.
He made 20 grand?
De Soler?
Yeah.
20,000.
Okay. And then Johnny Pack finished just above him. So we had 4 out of 5 make it.
making the cut of this event apparently was a big damn deal. John Pack won 21 grand.
Yes, because of some of the wins. Johnny was on the first page of the leaderboard, and he had to play more holes in inclement weather than most anyone.
Well, he finished just a stroke behind Sahith Thagala. That's doing some things. He, that's a tough 3-day stretch. His Thursday, Friday, Saturday is not one to remember. 78, 75, 70. Oof. Tough day. Almost caught up to my man Gracerman. Well, I've been betting on. This all leads us to about to say goodbye, but is it tomorrow? Is it tonight or tomorrow that we get the Rory version?
Tonight, I think. Really ruining my night, by scheduling the scheduled release the same night as Tiger versus Rory and TGL.
This is kind of their last hope. Ratings fell off a cliff for the one a week ago.
The crowd's not involved. I mean, I really could fix this. If they would hire me, I can fix it.
It's an easy fix.
I'm uniquely gifted. It should be uniquely compensated to help fix this product. Call me down there to Jupiter.
By the way, yeah, you could. Just let people drink and yell.
That's right.
That's all it is.
Let people concept 1 week, then pay me, and then let me light this thing up.
Let people drink and yell. Get guys out of the crowd to take a swing on one side or the other.
I'll wear John Lennon style prescription glasses with rose-colored tinting. Like, showtime.
Yeah,
there you go.
Have some lunatic. Yeah,
that's right.
No, I'm with you on this.
Go get him.
Go get him is right. Last piece of news was, of course, less than 3 weeks after falling to Notre Dame in the college football playoff semis, Penn State decided to push their chips into the middle of the table, and they stole Ohio State's defense coordinator.
Nice move. $3 million plus.
$3.1 million per year. Good work out of you, sir. Enjoy the smash tonight with Ira at 7. To all of you who were on board for the whole thing, thank you. Have a great evening. Be well. Headlines tomorrow. Peace.